up, guys? We're back here to discuss another episode of Attack on Titan. This is Attack to Talk. Today we'll be focusing on Season 3, Episode 3. That episode being Old Story. This will be part 1 of our episode discussion. Joining me is...
Hello, I am Lexi.
That is Lexi. I am AJ. And also joining us is Kyron. Kyron, please let us know, man. Let us know how you've been doing. How's the week? How's the weekend? We'd love to go ahead and find out how all that's been. Hope you're doing well. And thank you for joining us. So Lexi, please tell me, how have you been? How was your week?
Pretty good. I dog sat again this weekend.
Yes.
Little staycation.
Nice.
And the week was pretty average. Had a pretty busy weekend between beach volleyball games, men's volleyball games, dog sitting, and I got a new tattoo.
Did you? All right. Very cool. Well, so do you want to explain what the tattoo is?
Yeah, for sure. I got a tattoo of, so I've had this rabbit that I got from the swap meet when I was really young. I want to say I was like 9 years old.
Yeah, really little.
And like, obviously a swap meet rabbit, like now that I know, like those are just breeders and everything. And you know, you really shouldn't be buying from them, but obviously save the rabbits and all that. Got him, I think, before like rabbits are even allowed to be sold. Like they're not even supposed to be away from their mother for the first like 4 months or something like that. And he was like a baby.
Yeah, wasn't it like, I could be wrong, but wasn't it like literally weeks?
Yeah, I want to say he was like at most, absolute oldest was maybe 2 months.
Yeah.
But I think he was probably about a month old because he was fitting, like he was like palm size of my 9-year-old hand. So he was really small. And had him for 13 years until he died pretty recently. And maybe it was a Titan, you know? Maybe his 13 years were up. Now that I think about it, maybe he was he was my little beast Titan. Yeah. What we've been talking about before. But yeah, we talked about the rabbit before because he used to be in the corner of this podcast until we moved him to a different room, and then eventually he passed away of old age. So I got a tattoo of a black rabbit that kind of resembles him. He was a Netherland dwarf rabbit, which is a black rabbit. And I don't know how I'm going to be able to show this. But if you guys can see that, that is obviously a rabbit.
Yeah. Some fresh ink right there.
Yeah. I still got the second skin on it.
Yeah. Adhesive.
Yeah. There he is. There he is. I didn't really care if it looked exactly like him, just something that resembles. But also black rabbits are just pretty cool. Yeah. So,
but it's a cool little tribute tat. Awesome.
For my rabbit. Right. His name was Tumbles, if you guys are curious. But yeah.
Yeah. Very cool.
That was my eventful. I had a very eventful weekend.
Nice. Very cool. Well, Kyron says the week's been fine, and thank you for asking. All right. Hey, Sun God. What's up, man?
Sun God.
Welcome back.
Oh, I'm so happy to see your return.
Yeah.
Cool.
I love it, man. Sun God, hope you've been well too, man. Hope the week's been good and the weekend's treating you right.
How was your week and your weekend, AJ?
Yeah, another solid week of work. You know, when it comes to during the week, it's just kind of, I like it be a little slower week, and just when it comes to work hard, and then when I get home, just relax, focus on just kind of getting the podcast prep stuff going, watch some anime, just kind of wind down and just relax. But weekend was good. Actually, yesterday I went to a little party. It's one of my friend's birthdays. And, watched the UFC fights. For anybody who's a, MMA fan, watched the fights. The fights were really good. The main event was very quick. Wasn't expecting that. But yeah, and then just being around just friends, good company, it was really, really fun. It was nice to go ahead and see some friends and, just kind of get out there, socialize and stuff.
A good little change of pace.
Yeah. Because, for me personally, I am like very much like a homebody type person. Like I love just kind of being in the comfort of my own home and stuff. Like I said, for me, I love when it comes to weekends, just, especially a Friday night. Like I love just the feeling of like, all right, cool. Like I get to go ahead and sleep in, but also like I get to just chill tonight, go ahead and just like chill and like just watch anime and, like just relax.
Like recharge.
Yeah. And, but it was nice to go out and just have fun with my friends, and yeah, so it was a good weekend. It's been a good week. So yeah, thank you guys for asking.
Yeah, of course.
Appreciate it. All right. Yeah, big episode for Lexi today.
Yeah.
Huge episode. This is going to be, as this episode's name is Old Story, and we're going to go ahead and talk about an origin of a character, and that character being Historia.
Yeah. Maybe called Old Story, but we're going to talk about young Historia.
Yeah.
Ha 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 ha. Cue the laugh track.
Yeah. But, yeah, Lexi's got herself, some voices to do. We all know how much she loves doing Historia's voice.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's just not in my range.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
But this is going to be a very important episode. Again, we've talked about it already with the many episodes we've done for season 3, where it's like, man, we're getting so much information. We're getting so much kind of setup and everything, right? We're building up to something, right?
Yeah.
We know that this is like the government arc, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, what the hell's going on here?
A lot of information, a lot of like, all this stuff is happening behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Learning about all the behind the scenes stuff.
We've been introduced to like some very sketchy characters that are kind of working again. They're working in the shadows here, right? And then one of those characters being Rod Rice, and we're going to go ahead and familiarize ourselves a little bit more with Rod Rice as well. And so big episode when it comes to like really finding out what this guy Rod Rice is really about, right? And yeah. Again, we're just getting more information. We're going to go ahead and get some insight as to how that conversation was that we keep getting reference to about Aaron overhearing that conversation with Ymir and Bertold, right? And then something we've also discussed was Irvin's big gamble.
Yeah.
Right? So we're going to go and get more information on all that. But it's going to be a big episode, guys. A lot of information again. But before we get into all that, Lexi, do you want to go ahead and start getting into the poll or the question?
Let's go ahead and get into that. We got a good amount of responses in the poll and Q&A. So since I already have the Q&A up, let's go ahead and just talk about the Q&A first.
Awesome.
So last week, we asked you guys, Demo Reeves' final act was helping the scouts. Is this enough redemption in your eyes, despite all the selfish, slimy things he's done?
Okay, yeah. I mean, let's kind of go ahead and
let's list off all the slimy things.
let's talk about it. Before we go ahead and get some of the feedback. I mean,
like our introduction to the dude.
Obviously, that's like the big. When you think of Demo Reeves, and you think about what I don't want to say like the impact that he really had was the fact that like we know him as the guy who really tried to hold up, everybody
the dude that was like
trying to go ahead and
blocking
escape
people's survival with his merchandise.
And this is the first Titan breach, right? This is over in Walmaria.
Yeah.
And specifically that Shiganshina district, right? And yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things again where you have somebody who obviously we refer to him as like a selfish person because he's this merchant, right? All he cares about really is just, profit and his business really succeeding.
We get a really good look into his priorities and his morality with him favoring his merchandise over these people's lives. Like there's children in this group and he's just like, no, we got to put my merch first.
Yeah. And then I think really what it is just in terms of like the different slimy stuff that we've seen from him. I mean, I don't think we've seen a whole lot of stuff, but we know that he is a person who will do whatever it takes to ensure his safety and also, his business succeeding and surviving and all that, right? But another thing that's important too is that we know that he is not a good father at all.
No,
as a matter of fact, he has so much like, what's the word I'm thinking of? Like disdain or like I don't want to say hatred for Flagle, but like there's like this disgust for him as like a son, and obviously there's disappointment, but he thinks he's stupid, and pretty much thinks he's worthless and he's not going to contribute to much, and he's trying to bring him along. I get it, maybe
teach him the ways of the world or whatever. Like, and Flagle's doesn't really seem like he's built for that life.
Yeah, but I mean,
but at least he's eating well.
Oh, definitely. They both are. But yeah, with Demo, I mean, we could just see that he's not the most trustworthy person, but he's also, just in terms of like, again, morally, he has his own priorities, like you said, right? And those being, his safety and really his, the Reeves company.
Yeah.
So
he'll do what he has to do. He doesn't really care about the morality's sake as long as it benefits him and his life and his merch, then he'll do it.
So with that being said, I mean, again, we talked about last episode, he helped the scouts, and the scouts are, again, they're they're not supposed to be scouts. You know, they literally there's no scout activity that's supposed to be happening, and specifically, you know, with Captain Levi and his squad, I mean, they're fugitives right now.
Yeah.
And so now you have Demo Reeves, who again, he's going along with it because, you know, he knows that he doesn't have a choice, but he helped out.
Yeah.
You know, we know that he played a part in capturing those 2 first interior officers, 2 very slimy people, and but Demo helped, right?
Yes.
Unfortunately, that was his last real action that we saw, and then it wasn't, you know, unfortunately, until Kenny got his hands on him. You know, we've said it before, guys. Do not go out at night in trusts, especially when all this craziness is happening.
Yeah, not the best idea with a person who's nicknamed Kenny the Ripper.
Yeah.
But especially because he had like essentially like backstab or went against Kenny pretty much, helping out the scouts, and then him and Kenny had a deal, and then he ended up helping the scouts instead, and so...
And then he died.
Yeah, Kenny got him.
Kenny got him.
Kenny got him.
You know, killed him in cold blood right in the streets. You know, like literally he's just there waiting for his son. You know, his son had to go ahead and take a piss real quick, and then that's literally the opportunity that, you know, Kenny saw. And you got to think that Kenny was probably obviously keeping an eye on him. And then, because I mean, even we know that Kenny, I mean, he's the guy that he has eyes on his targets. Yeah. You know, we even know that he was keeping a close eye on Levi.
He's got a pretty, even if he's not there, he's still got a skilled group to to recon and everything. And
and you know, he got him. So Demo Reeves died, but his last action was helping out the scouts. So again, the question is what is Alex that?
Is Demo Reeves' final act of helping the scouts enough redemption in the eyes of the viewers and the eyes of the voters, despite all the selfish, slimy things he's done?
So this is opinion-based question, just to see for us if this is enough for him to go to, like, you know, to be perceived as a good person.
The word redemption, again, that's also broad, but thankfully we have some very insightful viewers that
so what are some of our
pretty cool responses.
What do some of our friends have to say?
So first of all, we have Bobby7. Hello, Bobby. He says, against my better judgment, yes, it is enough. And to answer a question from last week, B. Dennis is Bobby.
Yeah, B. Dennis.
Yeah, B. Dennis 7
because
and Bobby
the confusion was Captain Boggy. Because remember, Eddie had mentioned that
Eddie thought
Captain
that
Boggy was also
Boggy.
Yeah, but I think that with that response being that Captain Boggy is Captain Boggy and Bobby 7 is B. Dennis.
Yeah.
So...
Which makes sense, which is what we thought.
Eddie, what's up, buddy?
Hey, Eddie.
I knew it. Yeah. Definitely. Against Bobby's better judgment, he thinks that Demo helping the scouts is enough. Okay. Very cool.
So, and then next we have Eddie, actually. He came in with the timing.
Yeah. All right. What does Eddie have to say?
Eddie says, yes, pretty fair, but unfortunately he paid the price.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess at the end of the day, he did get what was coming for him, you know? Kenny did come after him and get Demo and everything. But, in Eddie's eyes, this is him helping out the scouts in this act is enough.
Is enough.
Is enough redemption.
Yeah. But he still got what was coming to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still, you can't escape that sometimes. Next up, we have another consistent answerer is Pro Weather 13. Welcome back, Pro Weather 13. Thank you so much for another response. They say yes, especially considering he got killed over it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another whole factor over it. Where obviously him helping out the scouts, given it was kind of almost something that he was almost forced to do. Well, yeah, but he still did it knowing full and well that I'm betraying Kenny. It's probably going to kill me.
Yeah, well, again, let's kind of talk about very quickly the stipulation, right, of why he helped. Obviously, again, he was captured because, you know, the scouts are good at what they do, you know, like, okay, you're not going to go ahead and just capture Aaron and Astoria, you know, just easy like that. I mean, yeah, they were captured, but it took a lot of effort. But Demo Reeves ended up getting captured, him and his son Flagle, and then they were presented with the opportunity by, you know, Levi to go ahead and help them because Levi was thinking that they knew where Eren and Historia were going to be, more or less, you know, like even if it's not necessarily where the location is, they're going to have an idea, or at least, you know, kind of a tip to go ahead and like, look, I maybe get information from this person or whatever the case is, you know? And I think that's what ended up happening, because they know that, I would imagine that Demo pretty much mentioned Sanes and Ralph, right? So then now the plan being, all right, so now we have to capture those two to go ahead and get more information, right?
Yeah.
But the stipulation being, what did Demo really want? Is that you mentioned he knew that because the plan didn't go according to plan, that they're gonna go ahead and come after me. They're gonna kill me. They're gonna go ahead and kill, you know, my you know, all my employees, and they're gonna kill my stupid son too.
Yeah.
You know,
my stupid son.
But then I'm trying to remember exactly what it is that, you know, he said he'd be willing to help, but I mean, he didn't really ask for like safety, right?
No, I think
I remember saying he didn't want his people in his city to starve.
Yeah, I think that was.
And he wants a company.
I think that was his only request.
Yeah, and he wants a company to live on, right?
Yeah, it was just for his company lineage.
Spoiler alert! I mean, we know that it will, because of Flagel. He's gonna have a glow up.
Yeah,
but
Flagel gets a glow up.
But that's why I'm trying to remember. I mean, we referred to Demo as very selfish, but in terms of the stipulations, I don't think he necessarily was like, look, I'll only do this if you guys protect me. Like, no, I think he was just like, all right, you know what? Just make sure that my company lives on, and that, you know, the people of the city don't starve, right? Which again, if I remember that correctly,
selfless from and Demo standards.
Yeah, like if I'm remembering all that correctly, then yeah, I mean, here we go. This is where you start seeing that redemption, right? So we have a couple more responses.
Yes, we do.
Okay, cool.
We have another returner whose name I'm still not sure if I'm pronouncing correctly. Please correct me if I'm pronouncing it wrong. Rena Nell 9614.
Okay.
Short and sweet. They say yes.
Yeah, there we go. It's enough redemption.
That's enough.
Yeah.
And then lastly, we have friend of the show, Marco.
All right. What does Marco have to say?
He says, was this the guy that was touching Armin? Because if not, then yes. That if it's not the dude that was pawing at Armin, then yes, there was enough redemption. But which means that Marco is implying that if this was the dude that was pawing at Armin, then no redemption.
We're gonna show you, Marco, that Demo was not the same person that was
not Demo.
Groping and fondling and lusting over
the other dude.
Historia.
Yeah, the other dude got what was coming to him.
Yeah. That freaking perv for sure. But yeah, Demo was not that person, so I guess we can go ahead and say that Marco also agrees redemption for Demo.
Yeah. So and that's all of them. So the consensus of all of the answers are that yes, is enough redemption.
Very, very cool. So we have Sun God and we have Kyron who are joining us. I would love to hear from both of you if you guys think that this is enough redemption for Demo. Again, Demo's last actions were helping the scouts follow through with his plan and capturing Sanes and capturing Ralph, both members of the 1st Interior, you know, officers, and we know that they were a part of some very, very scummy, like, incidents, or, you know, they were taking out people who had any kind of idea of maybe the outside world, maybe, you know, any kind of knowledge of something that
even
could,
like curiosity,
that could make its way to the government, maybe, you know, because that's what they're trying to do, right? So with Sanes, he's trying to rationalize everything by saying that I did everything for the king, right? And for the protection of it, but yeah, very cool. Sun God, no worries. No worries at all, bro. We appreciate you just being here.
Thanks for coming along for the ride, though.
Yeah,
we appreciate it.
Very, very cool. But yeah, I mean, I think the consensus, though, is, again, the redemption is there. Because, again, he didn't have to go ahead and do this. You know? I mean, I don't know if the alternative would have just been like, all right, never mind, you don't want to help us, and Levi's just going to let him leave. You know, I don't think that would have been the case. But, you know, but I want to ask you, Lex, in your eyes, is this enough redemption for Demo?
I think it is, for the fact that, obviously, like all the things that we said, that he didn't really ask for selfish safety. He asked for his company to have a good legacy and for everyone to be well fed, which I think is pretty selfless by Demo's morals. And also that he knew that obviously he's betraying Kenny, and that he would eventually he'd be killed by this. Even though he tells his son, like he tells Flagle, like sometimes you just got to do what you got to do to survive for any benefit and stuff. Which yes, you know that is kind of survival in this in the terms of Attack on Titan, but. I think it's the sole fact that, I mean, I think that's just what he told Flagle. I think that he's also very aware that, like, I know that this is going to kill me and, you know, I'm doing what I'm doing. So I think that it's enough redemption.
Yeah.
I'm in agreement with everyone else.
Very cool. You know, I wanted to play devil's advocate, but, you know, thinking back about really, as you mentioned, what the stipulations were, you know, like, look, just, you know, promise me this, right? Mm-hmm. It really wasn't a lot to ask for. And again, he was asking for, you know, pretty much he wants his legacy to live on. Mm-hmm. And, you know, just the fact that he mentions about he doesn't want his people to starve, you know, I think that's admirable, of course, you know, coming from a person who you would think, you know, off of their previous actions that, you know, this person is not going to care about any of these people, right? Mm-hmm. But... You know, I have to agree. I have to agree with everybody. I mean, like, again, he really didn't have a choice. But, I mean, the fact that the plan worked, they were able to go ahead and get information and now continue going forward and trying to find Eren and Historia, you know, it was a success. You know, it wasn't like, unfortunately for Demo that, you know, he helped and the actions were for nothing, right? He just died for nothing.
No.
You know,
helped with the scout's plan.
Yeah. And I mean, the truth of the matter is, like, I think you mentioned it too. I mean, he kind of more or less knew that survival wasn't really going to be in his cards, because how are you going to be able to go ahead and avoid somebody who literally is known as a legend, you know,
serial killer.
Like, this is a person that prides himself on being good at killing military police officers, right? Mm-hmm. And now this Kenny the Ripper character has turned his attention to, I mean, the scouts and pretty much anybody who is anti-government. And it's so weird when you have like this Kenny the Ripper who is known for killing officers now helping, you know, this government. Yeah. You know, it's very, very strange.
Interesting.
But yeah. And again, we're going to go ahead and dive more into the origin of how, you know, maybe this came to be, why Kenny is helping out, you know, the government.
The lore. You
know, we're going to go way back and we're going to go ahead and learn some stuff, some important details. But yeah, so thank you so much for everybody that responded to the question. We really appreciate your guys' responses. As we mentioned before many times, like, your guys' feedback is very much needed and appreciated, because the insight that we get from you guys, it's, you know, we love it. We love learning more about Attack on Titan, and you know, we get so many awesome responses where it really opens up our minds to new kind of perspectives and all that, and it's awesome.
Stuff
so thank
that we
you all.
Wouldn't have ever thought of.
Yeah, so thank you all so much again for everybody that responded. We really appreciate you guys. We hope that you guys continue responding to the questions going forward. So we always look forward to the responses.
Yeah, of course.
Very, very cool. All right, Lex, we got a poll to go and talk about, right?
The next one is the poll. And again, guys, this is all posted on our Instagram at Attack the Talk Podcast. So if you guys want to go ahead and chime in, we totally love, again, just as we mentioned, we love all your guys' insight, all of your guys' response, even as simple as the yes,
just yes
that we got.
You know, because sometimes it is as simple as that, because it's a question like, does this person deserve redemption? Yeah. You know, like,
all right, cool. Like, sometimes I'm glad we're in a consensus. Like, it's sometimes, you know, just knowing that that's, you know, your opinion and knowing what you know, that's all you have to really do.
Yeah.
So yeah, next I'm going to read the poll. So last week we asked you guys, worst murder MP Gel, is it Gel?
Yeah, it's like Gel Son is, I think. Yeah.
What is the worst murder that the first squad interior?
Yeah, like first interior squad member. Yeah.
Yeah, first interior squad. Yeah, I got it mixed up. You know, a little dyslexy. So what is the worst murder that MP Gel Sonis was involved with?
Yeah,
because we got to hear
his
him
confessions.
basically, him confessing and listing off all these behind the scenes stuff that he had been a part of.
The different stuff that has been weighing on his shoulders, right? The stuff that he had to do. Again, he's trying to rationalize, you know, his involvement with these terrible killings, right? It's because he's all doing it for for the sake of protecting the king and then and
the,
the government and everything and it's we find out that he had a part of very, very crucial killings.
Yeah, he was a part of some murders that we as viewers obviously, but like the main characters are it's very much
impacted by.
They're very much impacted by these murders, these behind the scenes, obviously covered up murders and occurrences that this MP Sanas is a part of.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and let's talk about the murders that we're referring to.
So the three options are the torturing of Irvin's father.
Yeah.
Which he just says a teacher that was too
a teacher
curious,
that
like for his own good or something like that, something worded that way.
I think was like maybe it was either a teacher that knew too much, right?
Oh, that sounds right.
Yeah,
I think it's that. And then the next one is gunning down Armin's parents. Obviously,
I think there was a couple that was too curious or something, right?
Yeah, I think that's what it was. A couple that was too curious and tried to venture out.
Yeah.
Which that's how he describes it. Obviously, he's not going to say, those are Armin's parents.
Yeah.
But we know.
Because of, early on in Attack on Titan.
Yeah. When Armin mentions it, that his parents were trying to venture out the wall and they got killed.
Yeah.
And the last one is the murdering of Historia's mother.
Yeah.
And he explains it as killing the woman who
you think
like an illegitimate child.
To her as a whore.
Oh yes, he does.
Yeah,
he doesn't say woman. He says whore. Sorry, the other W word. My bad.
The whore with the illegitimate child. Yeah.
Yeah, who gave birth to an illegitimate child. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's something we're going to really focus on in this episode.
Yes,
and
we're going to hear more
details on that.
More about that whore.
Yeah, we're going to learn more about that whore for sure.
So yeah, let's go ahead and hear what you guys voted.
This is what we think is the worst.
The worst murder
that he was involved with.
However you want to define worst.
Okay.
So, again, in normal fashion, starting from least voted to most voted, we have the least voted is 25% with the torturing of Irvin's father.
Ooh, okay. So the teacher torture. All right. So that was 25%. Interesting.
And then it goes to 32% with the murdering of Historia's mother, which means that the most voted at 42% is the gunning down of Armin's parents.
Wow.
None of them was really outvoted a whole lot compared to the others. They were all really close, within 10 or 15%.
Yeah.
We're all pretty close to each other.
Interesting.
Which, these are all horrible occurrences. It's really hard to decide which one is worse than the other. I guess it just depends on
I think what also depends
on your own moral compass.
For me too, I think it can also depend on the character that it's impacting.
Yeah.
Because we can talk about it. So let's talk about it now. Starting with the 25% with, Irvin's father. It's something that I think we're going to really go ahead and focus more on as we continue on with, this season. We were just kind of referenced, I believe, last season in season 2, right? Where I know Irvin kind of mentioned, and we even saw like a scene.
Yeah, like a quick glimpse of
his father being a teacher. And that's why a lot of people were confused about when we first saw Zeke. It was like, wait, is that Irvin's father?
Blonde dude with a beard and glasses.
Yeah. So there was that confusion there. So we only got just a tease, right? But now we're going to go ahead and learn more about it. And, but now talking about the impactment of that death, right? And talking about how it really affected Irvin.
Yeah.
And, I can't remember exactly how young Irvin was.
Yeah, I can't either. But it was young.
Yeah.
Youngish.
And I think for that, it's got to be difficult when you go ahead and you lose somebody who I think is really like when you lose somebody who is so knowledgeable, like I don't want to say think about what all Irvin would have learned, and all that, but I think what it was is that his father just had a lot of theories that were end up being very close, right?
Yeah. It wasn't stuff that he knew for a fact. It was just stuff that he was just a brilliant man that had good theories and was testing them, and he was just a brilliant man.
He's just a victim of his knowledge. That's just unfortunately what it is. And then we're going to learn more about it, because even thinking about it now, like, I don't necessarily know the whole dynamics of everything and how and why it played out the way it did, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, we know that it was a terrible thing, and then he suddenly just was gone. But now talking about, you know, what was it? The next one was 32?
The next one was 32% with the murdering of Historia's mother.
Yeah. So with this, I mean, this one's tough because we're going to talk about this literally in this episode, but we can tell you guys that this whore that he's referring to, you know, this is Historia's mother, and so going and doing the preparations for this episode, I learned that her name is Alma. Alma, right? And I can tell you guys that she's not a good person.
Yeah.
You know, she's not a good person. And again, we're going to talk about it, and you guys are going to understand why she's not a good person.
Yeah.
But
you guys will see.
But yeah, she's not a good person. Not saying that, you know, again, we talked about, you know, some people have, you know, whatever's coming to them, right?
Yeah.
She didn't deserve what ends up happening to her.
Yeah.
But it's just, again, it's hard to go ahead and kind of have that complete sympathy.
Yeah.
Once you guys really realize the type of person that she is.
Because it's not one of those things where it's like, oh, I'm glad she got killed. It's what she deserved. It was just like just like how Irvin's dad was a victim of his own knowledge. She was kind of a victim of her own situation. And given she did not respond to it in the most positive way, in the nicest way, than we would have hoped. But not deserving of the death that she got. It's still horrible, and obviously we're going to go through it more, but like the fact that it even happened like right in front of Historia.
Yep.
And
now we talk about how it impacts the character. I mean, this is something that obviously like stays and sticks with Historia and stuff.
Especially
you know,
because it happened. She saw it so young.
Yeah,
she was just, like just a little girl.
So we can go ahead and kind of go back to the impacts and everything, right, and get in more details, because you know, we don't want to really necessarily give away the entire story, you know, because we're going to talk about it. But regardless, again, you know, as I mentioned,
just a little foreshadowing.
Historia's mother is not a good person.
Yeah.
But
if you guys remember,
in terms of why maybe this was a top voted one, and being what, 35%? 32% the top voter?
No, the top voted is 42.
Yeah, so 42%. So the reason why maybe people voted that wouldn't be the top voter, being, you know, the death of Armin's parents, is because we know that Armin is a sweetheart, man.
Yeah.
You know? And
Armin definitely,
you know, we love Armin. And again, unfortunately, we talked about
impacted him for sure.
We talked about how, you know, Irvin's father is a victim of knowledge. You know, Historia's mother is a victim of just situation, right? And then you have just with Armin's parents, I mean, they're just a victim of curiosity.
Curiosity, yeah.
You know, and again, we don't know how they got that book, other than maybe just kind of speculating and theorizing that maybe they had some sort of, you know, attachment or something, or some sort of affiliation to maybe Marley or something. I don't know, but I don't think that's really the case. But
with
they had a book
that they have, they
had a book where they were able to go ahead and see what is past that wall. And so for them, I mean, being really like adventure seekers, they wanted to see it firsthand. They wanted to witness these beautiful things that they're reading, you know, because what do they see inside these walls? They just, you know, we talked about it too. I know Eddie had mentioned it, where it's like right from the get-go, when we see Attack on Titan, we're seeing this very like these families that are like so poor, and you know, they're just, the clothes that they're wearing, they're just so like rugged and you know, and it's so different from when we go ahead and later on down the line see, like, you know, Marley and stuff, you know, and how
much more advanced that they are, their technology and everything, and obviously their knowledge and all that. And even like Eddie mentions here, like how did his parents get that balloon? Did they make it? It looks pretty well manufactured in the photo. So like we're not sure what ties they had. Yeah. But whatever ties that they did have obviously only furthered their curiosity. Yeah. Which obviously is why Armin is so curious. He was raised by them.
Yeah. And you know, unfortunately the curiosity killed the parents, you know. It sucks.
Unfortunately.
It's sad to say, but You know, we see what we're learning is with this freaking government is that if they get an idea that you know too much,
yeah,
you know, they're going to go ahead and take matters into their own hands, and a lot of times those matters being very, very.
Those are some
scummy.
severe consequences.
Yeah,
yeah. Which
they just want to instead of they want to avoid any kind of, you know, controversy or avoid any kind of, you know,
anti-liberation. Let's just keep things as non-knowledgeable and like unadvanced as possible.
Yeah.
Just keep things the same for the sake of the king.
Yeah.
Okay.
But in terms of impacting though, like this obviously, unfortunately, I don't want to say their death was a good thing, but it became a driving force for Armin to really instill in our main character's head, Eren, you know, just the beauty that is outside of that wall. And so what is it that Eren wants? He wants freedom, right? We know that it's always going to be like a reoccurring thing is that he wants freedom. And then with Armin being influenced by his parents, you know, about those freedoms that are outside that wall, then, you know, you have
there's
Armin
so much to see, so much to experience.
Yeah, you have Armin explaining it over to Eren, then you have Eren he's very curious, but he's also very determined, right? And so he's like, okay, then we're going to go ahead and see that. We're going to go ahead and see these, you know, these beautiful things outside the walls. And so, you know, it's unfortunately their death, you know, it's a terrible thing, but it became a really, you know, significant driving force going forward. So I think that, again, their death was terrible, but I mean, it really helped out with kind of the story playing out a certain way, you know? So, but yeah, this is stuff we're going to go and learn more about as the story continues. You know, we're going to learn more about, again, in this episode, Historia's origin. We're going to learn about that whole situation as how, you know, how her mother died,
upbringing and everything.
Yeah. And then we're going to, I think we even get it as we get to the end of this episode, you guys will understand when we get to the close here, but we're going to learn more about Erwin's father. So stuff we're very much going to go and learn more about. So, you know, it's stuff to go ahead and kind of, again, just the more we talk about it, the more we're going to get an idea as far as why they were unfortunately forced to die by the government.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll get there eventually. Anything else you want to mention about the poll?
No, just curious on what you voted.
I think for me, I mean, you guys know my heart goes out to Armin, and I have to agree with the majority because I mean it's especially understanding too that I mean this is going to be very hypocritical, but like because they all were very young when they lost, you know, their parents or you know their parents or you know, but I mean Armin was very very young, and you know also too the difference I think with me is, I mean Armin is a part of that very poor upbringing, you know. So can you imagine already having that stacked against you, and then you lose your parents, you know, and it's like, man, there's so much already that you know that's already kind of again just against you, you know, it's trying to just
especially knowing how sympathetic and like empathetic that Armin is.
Yeah, I mean Armin got bullied and stuff, you know,
he definitely felt that.
Yeah,
he definitely felt that death.
So
I mean, obviously, but
for me, it's like I'd be voting with my heart. But I mean, what says you, Lex?
I was actually, it was pretty close between gunning down Armin's parents and torturing Erwin's father, just solely for the fact of the torturing factor, because again, he was just very knowledgeable and he just had great theories, and I guess he just knew too much. And the fact that he was, I mean, obviously he was being tortured to see like where are you getting this information from?
Definitely.
You know?
Yeah.
But the whole like he was just too smart for his own good is just like heart-wrenching to hear. But with that being a close second, I would still agree with the majority.
Yeah, about
Armin's parents. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, let's again, we can't disregard.
It's all horrible. Yeah, it's all just horrible murders, and like it's tough to vote one worse than the other. Yeah. Again, it's just a matter of opinion. There's not any right or wrong answer.
Yeah.
But yeah,
you tell him, Kyron.
Yeah, you tell him. Thanks, Kyron. Kyron's our guard dog.
But but yeah, we can't disregard obviously the torture that was involved with Erwin's father. I mean that sucks because you know that they're probably trying to torture him to go ahead and to see what he knows, why he knows that, where he got that knowledge from, you know. So I'm sure it was just a terrible situation. Again, I'm sure it's stuff that we're going to go ahead and learn more about.
Yeah.
In the coming episodes for sure. But thank you again so much for everybody who voted.
Yeah, thank you all.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that you could see the amount of votes, and good amount of people.
Awesome. Love it.
Like around 50?
Hell yeah.
50 in total.
Very cool.
Thank you guys so much. Oh my gosh.
So everybody keep a lookout for future polls
and Q&As up on our Instagram at
future
Attack
polls.
Podcast.
Future polls.
Someone remix that.
All right, guys. So now we have to do a huge disclaimer because if any of you have been living under a rock, we know that a new episode was released, right?
Yes.
It was an hour-long episode.
Final season
And-
part 3?
Yeah, it was like the final season. Yeah, part 3. We got
Part 2, part 1.
Yeah. But as much as we would love to dive into it and talk about it, I think it would be safe and best if we didn't, because it's still so new. It's still so fresh.
It's so soon, yeah.
And
I still want to give people, I mean, we still, obviously, we talked about this. We still want to give people a chance to go ahead and experience for themselves and everything, because obviously Attack on Titan is it's a journey. It's an experience that you are feeling. And
Definitely.
We don't want to take that away from anyone, given we could say, oh, disclaimer, like we think it's best if we just hold off on talking about it and give people some more time to go ahead and see it through and watch it and everything. And we would hate to be the reason that someone is spoiled for something.
yeah, definitely. As you mentioned, exactly. I mean, the experience that we got from that episode was like, it was awesome. And yeah, there's no reason for us to go and spoil anything for anybody.
Yeah.
You know? So
we're not even gonna hint at anything. Just know that it was an amazing episode. Go watch it.
Love to talk about it. Trust me.
Yeah.
Yes, I love it. But well, I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're just a little disclaimer that a little disclaimer that we're not going to be talking about it. We want to give people their own experience, and if you guys are curious about that, we did watch it.
And if you guys haven't seen it, watch it.
Yes, go watch it.
Definitely go watch it. But we'll go ahead and we'll eventually talk about the episode. Shoot, we might talk about it next week. I don't know if we can keep freaking caging our emotions and our feelings and everything about it. But again,
especially as more like media and stuff comes out about it.
Like as I mentioned, you asked me how I was doing in my weekend, and I was like, yeah, I went to a party, dude. I had friends who were like, "Do you watch the new episode?" I'm like, "Yeah, I did." And then some of my friends didn't watch it, so I was like, I was telling my other friends who'd seen it, I'm like, let's not talk about it because we don't want to spoil it for everybody.
Would hate to spoil for someone else.
Yeah, and but yeah, definitely go watch it, guys. But I just want to go ahead and give a disclaimer for that. Yeah. All right. Now that's out of the way.
Yeah. Now that we gave that little disclaimer. Spoiler warning for up to the anime that is not that final season part 3.
Yeah. So we are going to be maybe talking about some spoilers, but we won't be talking about those spoilers.
Yeah, not about the most recent episode, not about those ones. That is for a different time. It's way too recent. It's only a couple days out.
Yeah.
So we'll save that.
Definitely.
And we'll let you guys know if we ever do mention anything about it, so that you guys can still experience that for yourselves.
Yep. Man. All right.
And yeah, that's
cool.
it. That's a disclaimer.
All right. So I want to ask now, Lexi, how are you feeling? You ready? Big episode for you.
Yeah, I've rewatched certain scenes a couple of times just to be like, and I didn't even test it out because I was like, dang, I need to save my voice.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes.
It's going to be fun.
Thankfully, this is the time that I'm not sick, just concussed.
Yeah.
So.
Very cool. All right. So that sounds like you're ready.
I'm about ready. Yeah.
All right, guys. So now we're going to go ahead and start talking about the episode. Again, this is season 3, episode 3, Old Story. And this is part 1. All right. Should we go ahead and jump into it, Alex?
Yeah, I'm about as ready as I will ever be.
Let's do it. Because there's no reason to recap, because we kind of already recapped it with what we got from our questions, what we got with the poll and everything and stuff. So
way to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Thank you, guys.
Here we go. So we begin this episode with Historia, who appears to be sitting at a dining table, explaining.
I was born on a small farmstead. in the northern lands of Walrose.
And then we see that she is explaining her origin to Captain Levi and the Levi squad, who are also all gathered sitting at this dining table.
It was owned by the noble Rice family.
And then we flash back now to a young Historia working on the farm in that northern lands of Walrose. Historia continues to explain.
As far back as I can remember, I was helping out around the farm, but my mother was always reading books. She didn't care to work, and no one cared to make her. She was a beautiful woman.
And we now see her mother preparing to leave late in the night.
Most nights, someone would come for her in a carriage, and she'd go off into the city wearing fancy clothes.
We see a young Historia staring just through the window as she watches her mother leave.
For me, that was just life as I knew it.
A young Historia now has her sights set on a book.
But when I learned to read and write, I started picking up books to imitate my mother. And they taught me just how alone I was. In all the stories I read in those books, parents cared about their children. They talked to them, hugged them, scolded them. I had never experienced any of those things.
A young Historia watches as her mother continues to read underneath a shady tree.
One day, out of curiosity, I decided to try hugging my mother. I guess I just wanted to see what kind of face she'd make.
We see a young Historia jump into the lap of her mother, playfully giggling, and she's full of smiles. But to Historia's surprise, she got a reaction that she did not anticipate. Her mother became instantly disgusted by the surprise. She placed her hand on Historia's face and shoved her off of her. We see a young Historia, surprised, covering her face as Historia continues to explain.
She ended up shoving me away from her. But that was the first time my mother had acknowledged me.
The young Historia uncovers her face as we notice her nose bleeding, yet she's all smiles.
So it actually made me happy.
Historia's mother stands up with tears in her eyes, looks at the young Historia, and says,
"If only I wasn't such a coward, I could have killed it."
Her mother leaves in tears as the young Historia just watches, confused. Historia continues.
Those were the first words my mother ever said to me.
The next scene, we see her mother with her belongings, leaving.
She went to live somewhere else after that. I didn't see her for a long time.
The scene now changes.
And then, 5 years ago, just a few days after Walmaria fell, I finally met my father.
Rod Rice, he enters the farm home, and he tells a young Historia, "Historia, my name's Rod Rice. I wish that we could have met sooner. You see, I'm your father." And as a young Historia gasps, staring at her father, Historia continues to explain.
That man, he was the lord of the land I'd grown up.
A young Historia notices her mother waiting outside. She's outside of the door.
The mother I hadn't seen in years looked terribly frightened.
Rod Rice continues to tell young Historia, "Now, listen. You'll be living with me from this day forth." And we now see Rod Rice, with a young Historia in hand, leaving as her mother walks beside them. But then her mother suddenly stops as she notices a tall, shadowy figure approaching her. She now becomes frightened as she screams. She tries to run away, but the tall, shadowy figure grabs a hold of her. And then men begin surrounding her. And these men are all wearing large black trench coats and black bowler hats. The tall, shadowy figure, Kenny the Ripper, says, "You know what this is, Lord Rice. The fall of Walmaria's got you acting a bit reckless. I suppose you thought you'd get your pretty little secrets to safer ground, huh?" And then a young Historia tells Kenny,
"Let Mom go!"
But then her mother immediately screams out, panicking.
Okay. This is so soon. Yeah. All right. Okay. Reintroduce me.
Okay. But then her mother immediately screams out, panicking.
No! I'm not that girl's mother! I've never even met her! Do whatever you want with her, but let me go!
And then a young Historia stares at her mother just in disbelief. And then Kenny responds, "Oh, do you have anything to say about that, Lord Rice? Maybe it's just a coincidence that the three of you are out here at the same time." Rod Rice pauses as he thinks. He looks down at his daughter, and then he releases hold of Historia's hand. "So be it. That's correct. These two have nothing to do with me." And then Kenny replies, "I thought that might be the case." Kenny then holds Historia's mother to the ground as she cries out,
"Wait, what are you?"
But then Kenny tells her, "You were never employed at this estate, and nobody here has ever heard your name. Sounds to me like you don't exist." And then Kenny pulls out his blade, and Historia's mother pleads and begs to Rod Rice,
"No, Master, please! That isn't true! You have to tell them!"
And then a confused and worried young Historia reaches her hand towards her mother and asks,
"What are they doing, Mother?"
And her mother stares at Historia in the eyes and says, panicking with regret,
"If only you had never been born. I could..."
But before she can finish her regretful statement, Kenny slices the neck of Historia's mother right in front of her. We notice that Historia is holding on to her mother's book as she numbly stares at her mother's dead body. But then she releases the book, and as the book falls and hits the ground, Historia continues.
"Those were the last words my mother ever said."
Kenny now grabs a hold of a numb Historia and prepares to slice her throat as well. But Rod Rice stops him. "No, wait." And then Historia continues.
"Moments before I was killed myself, my father proposed an idea that if I were sent somewhere far away to live out a quiet life, perhaps they could spare me."
And Rod Rice now tells the young Historia, "Your new name will be Krista Lentz." Well, that was
So that's the death we were talking about.
yeah, that's a terrible situation there to be a part of.
How obviously Historia's mother was not the best woman.
Yeah, it just seems like she was a woman that was sleeping around with Rod Rice, right? And then unfortunately
Became pregnant.
she became pregnant, had this, again, illegitimate child who, we know that
royal blood.
we know that with this mother, she's not affiliated with the royal family. So again, that's why, she's in this whole sticky mess.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Rod Rice himself is not a good person at all.
No.
Because he is involving himself in these adultery. Well, I don't want to say these acts where it's like of adultery because we don't know if necessarily he is really married to somebody else, at least not until later on, right? Because we know that
we don't really know what's going on in this current time, not current, but like the time that she's talking about.
This is all stuff that's being explained to us at the moment, details. Right? We know that there's going to be more details that's going to go ahead and start coming to light about this full Rod Rice, in the coming episodes for sure. But right now, as we're being informed here, I mean, he was sleeping around with Historia's mother, and unfortunately, that was her downfall. She knew that by having this daughter that she clearly regrets having. What's terrible to hear is she said that it's too bad she was too much of a coward to kill it. She didn't even refer to Historia as a person. She just referred to Historia as it.
And to those be the last words that you hear your mother say while she's looking you dead in the eye while she's about to be killed. I mean, oh yes. Yes, we did.
Kyron, thank you so much for that.
I saw it on my TikTok, and then I immediately sent it to AJ.
Yeah, so Lexi showed me that, and you know what, man? I just want to say thank you so much, man. It's so cool that you were spreading just the word, man, because we talk about just how awesome it is to go ahead and just have these friends that we've like this crazy kind of community that has been created through this podcast and everything, and how we appreciate just the friends and everything,
just like.
There's your guys' support. It means the world to us, and for you, Kyron, to go ahead and do that, man. Like, it means just the absolute world to us. And
thank you so much.
And we appreciate it, man.
You did not have to do that, but thank you so much. We really appreciate you going out of your way to do that.
Yeah, and then
for all your
after
support.
seeing that, I mean, I guess it made a whole lot of sense, you know, when you message us to go ahead and okay, guys, go 3, 2, 1, say hi TikTok.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, but again, thank you so much, Kyron. That was awesome, man. Yeah, I definitely saw it. So, man, thank you. You know, man, you're awesome, man. That's why you are our Levi Squad member.
Yeah, of course.
So
you're an OG.
Some would say you are our Gunther, and I'm kidding.
Yeah.
You're Eld, bro. I'm kidding.
Yeah. All love.
We love you, bro. So thank you so much for that, and I definitely saw that, and thank you for reminding us. So,
but getting back to this whore.
Getting back to this whore for sure.
Yeah. Like even the whole I wanted to talk about the whole situation about Historia obviously trying to get closer to her mother, but you know, obviously she thinks she's a beautiful woman.
Yeah.
She would go into the town wearing fancy clothes by a random man. I mean, we don't like with Kenny saying like, oh, you weren't employed in this estate. Like we can only assume that she's probably a hooker, some kind of sex worker.
Yeah.
Probably. But obviously Historia, like even as a little girl, she still thinks of her like as such a lovely person. Like she was so beautiful. I wanted to get close to her by reading books. I just wanted her attention and everything. Even though, we got to see that Historia's mother had never said a word to Historia before, never acknowledged her.
And those first words that she heard were very, very piercing words that are kind of like no child wants to hear coming from their parents.
No, like up to where Historia, obviously reading about, because she had really no concept of parents and family up until she started reading books. Like she thought this was normal up until she started reading books and getting exposure that I just it's so sad hearing the quote, like hearing Historia say like, yeah, it wasn't like me and my mother's relationship at all. Like they actually talked to them.
Yeah.
And it was like, that's so sad. And then for Historia to want acknowledgement and want comfort, like she seeks this acknowledgement from her mother that she jumped on her to go.
She just tried to do what she saw, these families doing in these books, right?
And then the reaction, which was the first time Historia's mother had ever acknowledged her and had ever spoken to her, was her mother saying, "Yeah, if only I wasn't such a coward, I could have killed it."
Yeah.
And for Historia to after being very aggressively shoved off by her mom, and to have a bloody nose, Historia is smiling, and she she acknowledged me. That's such a sad childhood.
Yeah.
And it's not really something that's often really talked about when we talk about main characters of Attack on Titan's childhoods, because obviously everyone has had a super rough upbringing.
Yeah.
But I mean, just seeing that's Historia's I don't think it's talked about as much as I think it should be, because it's so dehumanizing.
And then kind of now seeing how the type of person that Krista became. I mean, how just so unselfish she is and how caring she is, and how she is always going out of her way to protect, to be there for others. It's a credit to her as a character, right? To again, it's kind of like we talked about with Armin losing his parents at such a young age. It's like everything that was all stacked against him, and he has no right to go ahead and be this very caring person. The same could be said for Krista. It's
with all the stuff that they've endured,
everything that she experienced, she very easily could have been the person that she is now, where she's just kind of this numb person who just has lost everything and really doesn't know what I don't want to say doesn't know what love is, because I mean, with Krista, with Historia, she's currently in the state because she lost something that she cares a lot about, but I guess she just had no reason to be this very caring person.
Yeah, it's really rough, since birth, being told that, or being basically maybe, obviously I don't doubt that her mother told her this, but even just Historia understanding that it's it'd be better if you were never born. Yeah. Wish you had never existed. You're not meant to be here. It's growing up with just that in your head and not knowing anything to compare it to. You think that's the norm is super dehumanizing. So rough to grow up as a little girl, and for her to still be as sweet and nice as she is
do you think with this insane upbringing though, and this rough childhood, right, that it's something that really kind of something that Ymir and Krista bonded over? Because we know that Ymir obviously had a very terrible childhood as well, And
also
again, you know, I
basically
think
being told that it'd be better if you didn't exist and everything. And
I think a lot of them too are involved with that whole kind of like cadet training is because, you know, they don't have a whole lot kind of going for them, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's some with the exceptions, you know, where at least we know that with Connie, I mean, he has his family. Yeah, I mean, they all think he's stupid, you know, and stuff. You know, he's not going to amount to anything, so that's why he's going to prove him wrong. But then you have somebody like Jean, who, you know, is very, very, you know, he had that love support from his mother, you know, and stuff, and
yeah, his upbringing was better than a lot of these other people in the 104th Cadet Squad.
Yeah, but then you have again these characters like Ymir and Krista. So I wonder if this is something that they kind of like. Again, they both were aware maybe that they have these, you know, kind of like childhoods that no child should endure, and
probably
and
confided in each other that way, like bonded together that way, and like it just shows more of these characters. I was gonna say it shows more of these main. It shows more of their character, knowing that, like, with this upbringing, they still wanted to fight for humanity. Yeah. Like, they saw humanity for, like, all the dirty details of what it is. They saw the underbelly of humanity and still thought, I want to fight for this. And that's, again, just shows more of these characters' morality.
Yeah, definitely. You know, this shows that they really want to make a difference for
really
those
commendable.
who are... Yeah. Something you mentioned too is that, you know, Historia, she's admiring her mother's beauty, right? We have to know that her mother must have been very beautiful, considering Historia is, you know, she's referred to as this angel, right?
Yeah.
She's like, obviously we know that she's
beautiful.
very beautiful.
And we see Rod Rice, and he's not.
We know that she didn't get it from Rod Rice.
Yeah, we know that it's not from him.
Yeah.
It's got to be from the mother, of course, who you said her name is.
It's Alma.
Alma, that's what it is.
Yeah, her name is Alma. Yeah,
but I'm assuming that she was Rod Rice ended up, you know, picking her up. She's probably a sex worker of some kind, whether she's a hooker or escort or something like that, and that's how Historia came to be. Yeah, how Historia came to be.
Yeah.
So you heard it here first. Rod Rice's Pullout Games Week. That Historia is here.
Yeah. I'm sure this guy is going out there, and I'm sure he's probably having these, you know, illegitimate children, because we're going to find out later on what he does to his children. All right, but Eddie's joining us here in chat, and he's saying that's what makes AOT stick out from other works of fiction. I'm not saying A Bad Childhood is pretty, but they fight for something that's bigger than they are.
Yeah, which definitely is super commendable for all of these characters. That rhymed. I'm just a poet. Actually, a SoundCloud rapper on the side. Oh, no. Gosh. Please knock some sense into me if I ever want to start rapping. Just as like Eddie said, just to add on to my whole little analysis that, they're fighting for something bigger than they are. They're fighting for humanity, knowing that they've seen the underbelly of humanity.
Yeah.
And one other thing I wanted to mention, how did Rod Rice just come up with Krista Lenz so quick?
Who knows?
He just like had it in his mind. He was just like, that's your name.
Just the name of another whore that he's been messing around with.
That was the one that got away.
Yeah.
My first love. Her name was Krista Lenz. Yeah. So that's you now.
Yeah, definitely. So now she has this name that we've known her as since the start of Attack on Titan, right? Is Krista Lenz. We see how she got that name.
Yeah.
But let's kind of now maybe even speculate on Kenny's involvement. We see that he has been involved since this far back, you know?
Yeah.
And it looks like he's a part of this kind of like
looks about the same, didn't age too horrible.
Yeah, but I mean, we also got like we see that what's going to be kind of a reoccurring thing here is these men who are almost like these like, what am I thinking of, the Secret Service men, you know, where they're like literally they're like the Secret Service men who are always going to be around protecting the president and all that, right?
Yeah.
We see now
pretty much, yes,
that we have these men who are literally in these like long
these little SWAT teams
coats and stuff, and then they have like the same kind of style hat as Kenny. So it's like Kenny has his own little, you know, Secret Service group and stuff, but Kenny's been involved this far back, you know, and
shows how deep that Kenny's lore kind of goes.
Yeah,
that he's been involved with so much stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
That would spin in the background.
I'm trying to go ahead and see necessarily all the lines that Kenny had here and see if he gives us any kind of clues or whatever, but I don't think it is. I think he's just trying to, you know, matter of fact, take care of business type stuff.
Yeah, it seems like now that Walmaria has fell,
Yeah.
you seem to want to get pretty involved. You guys are just all together and obviously like hearing that like, oh, I'm not connected to any of these. You're like, oh, cool, that's what I wanted to hear. Let me kill them. And one other thing I wanted to mention is that the way that we are like right now in the story being introduced to Rod Rice, makes him not seem like a bad guy. Like the way that we're being introduced to him as, as someone who made a mistake, and I mean, knowing that we know that this is not what this man actually is.
We're gonna go and find out more.
But I think it's interesting that in Attack on Titan, he is
perspectives, right?
He's introduced as almost this guy that's like, oh, I made a mistake. He's there comforting Historia when he sees her. Like, I'm so glad I have you again. Like, I miss you so much. I'm your father. And then with his backstory, seeing that like now he's trying to get involved, almost like he's trying to save her.
Yeah.
That's not what he's trying to do.
We
but
know what
it's
his motivations are.
Yeah, almost like he's trying to save her after Walmaria fell. And then when he even is like, no, don't kill her. Yeah. Let's keep her alive. Let's just put her far away in a quiet life and don't kill her. So like we're being introduced to Rod Rice as this really like selfless man that that is a great father to Historia.
Yeah,
but at this point we don't know what his actual agenda is.
He cares about her. Yeah. Right? We're like, okay, he's trying to make sure that she is safe, Mm-hmm. And it makes you think too, had Kenny not arrived, do you think that, Rod Rice would have tried to just live out this life with, his family and stuff, because obviously Historia's mother was there, and he was planning to leave with them. Yeah. Right? So, again, we can only speculate as to what
his plans
were
if
right?
Kenny wasn't interrupting.
Yeah. But unfortunately, Kenny did get involved. He killed Historia's mother. And Rod Rice, as you mentioned, we get this kind of idea, this, again, this perspective that like, okay, you know what? He just prevented Kenny from killing Historia. Yeah. Look, just let her just live out this quiet life, as you mentioned, Lex. And and it's very interesting because survival. One thing that we're seeing, it's like the whole perspective thing is like, okay, Rod Rice isn't that terrible of a person, but her mother is, So it was like, oh man, and I'm sure that if we were to go ahead and really see the entire story, it's like, maybe Alma just wasn't that terrible of a person. She just kind of like realized her life was now screwed up because of what she got herself involved with.
Yeah, yeah. So, like, again, another mistake. Given this was a huge mistake, but another mistake.
Yeah. But that's great. It's great insight, though, Lex. I really like that. It's something that I didn't really necessarily think about. Is that, again, that kind of like how AOT likes to go ahead and make us look at something very specific if in a certain
They're
view.
They're really good at like manipulating the lens that the viewers are viewing.
Yeah,
from.
that's why that's how she got her last name. Yeah. Right, Crystal Lens. Is how she got
the lens. Yeah, that's what I intended on doing. Yeah. But yeah, that Attack on Titan's really good with just knowing the perspective that they want the audience to see, that they want the audience to make their conclusions about a person by showing different perspectives, like you mentioned. Yeah. And I thought that it was pretty interesting that our introduction to Rod Rice or Lord Rice is that he seems like this very nice,
seems like this nice
father.
person, but also one of Alma's last words where she referred to Rod Rice as master.
Master, yeah.
So we know this guy probably has this really kind of like that master kind of like complex and stuff. You know, where
more of
he
like
needs to be the one in power, probably. And
very much power trip. But
I think what it is, you mentioned that he's a manipulator. Yeah. So I mean, that's just unfortunately what he's
pretty manipulative.
What he is, and
which of course he's manipulating us in these stories because from what we see as in a viewer standpoint of introduction, he doesn't seem like this horrible guy that he is.
Yeah, and that's a perfect segue because now we're going to continue on with the episode, and of course, as we continue, what is the next scene we see? We return now to the present events, what's currently happening in the story as Rod Rice is embracing Historia with a hug.
Yeah, like he's really selling that he missed her so much. He means so much to her. Like whether he's like, obviously, we see that and think like, oh, he missed her. Oh, he'd make sure to keep her safe and, far away in a quiet life. And for all we know, he could, spoiler for what his actual intentions are, he could be holding her being like, yes, I don't have to be the one that transforms. Yep. Yes, I don't have to be the one now. I can keep going on with my life and just have her. I'm glad I kept her around.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so we're going to see some more manipulative.
Yeah, but at this moment we see that he is this father that is so happy to have his child back, right? And Rod Rice tells Historia, I beg for your forgiveness, child. Please know that everything I've done, I did to protect you. And of course, as we saw in last episode, we see that Aaron, he's there. You know, he looks very groggy, he looks very out of it, but he's watching as he's, again, we see surrounded by the men wearing those trench coats and those bowler hats. Rod Rice continues, not a day has passed that I haven't thought of you. Long have I dreamed of a day when I could hold you like this. You are special. The blood of the king flows through your veins. And then we see tears in her eyes as Historia asks,
is that true?
And Rod Rice tells her, yes, Historia, the true royal bloodline is carried by the Rice family, and it's his and as its heir, the power to save all of humanity now rests in your hands. Please, Historia, come with me, and I'll show you where it all began. The scene now changes as we return to Levi and Hanji's location, and then we hear a door opening. We see the door of Ralph's cell opening, as Sanez is seen walking in, disappointed and betrayed by Ralph. Ralph asks Sanez, Sanez, your face. What happened? Wait, did you... They didn't actually make you talk, did they? But we swore a vow of loyalty to the king. And then Sanez rushes Ralph. He tackles him to the ground and begins strangling him. I can't stand to hear another word out of you. I would have died for you, and you betrayed me for a bed. To think that I trusted you. And then Hanji, she intervenes by telling Sanez,
hey. Sorry. Hey. He never told us anything. He didn't get a chance to. We never questioned him.
We see Sanez, he stops, and Hanji shows him the script.
This is the conversation you heard. We forced Ralph to read off this script at knife point. It was staged.
Sanez, he releases Ralph as Ralph begins gasping for air. Ralph, he gets up and he drops to his bed, coughing. And Sanez drops to his knees, realizing the truth. Then, it was me. I'm the one who betrayed the king's secret. And Hanji, she begins walking away. And as she walks away, Ralph tells her, You're a devil. Hanji stops and turns to respond.
Yes, I think you might be right about that. But I bet Pastor Nick felt the same way about you. That's why I felt sorry for you, Sanez.
Hanji, she now approaches the cell door to get right in Sanez's face.
Not because your nails got plucked out, but because of what you've done with your life. You're pathetic. A grown-ass man wailing like an infant. Are you sad now? Well, boo-hoo! You get to spend the rest of your lives doing nothing but eating and shitting in this cell. Enjoy.
And as Hanji walks away again, a defeated Sanez tells her, It's your turn. Hanji, she stops to listen. There's an order to these things. Perhaps it's law of human nature. When one's time is over, another must take on the role that they used to play, and thus, the world can never be cleansed of it. Best of luck, Hanji. Hanji notices the tears and remorse from Sanez, and then she leaves. Moblit, waiting by the door, notices that something is troubling Hanji just by the look on her face as he worryingly asks, Section Commander? But Hanji, she walks out the door. She closes the door and she stops to think about what Sanez just said. Hanji then takes a deep breath in and then she sighs. And then we see Hanji letting her frustrations out on furniture as we see her kicking a chair so hard that it launches and destroys a dining table. Hanji, she spins around off balance, and as she rebalances herself, she turns around to notice Captain Levi staring at her at the staircase. Hanji then apologizes to Levi.
I'm sorry. Seems I made a mess. I encountered a large cockroach.
And Levi responds, I see. Well, as hard as you kicked it, I bet it learned its lesson. It's time you filled them in. And then Hanji now says,
oh, yeah. I might as well.
All right. Well, this is interesting because no, I don't want to go and allude to something that we literally at the start of the episode were saying no spoilers, none of that. Okay, so I'm not going to go down that road.
Just take this scene for what it is.
With this scene, I mean, starting off again, you mentioned that we're going to go ahead and get a perception of Rod Rice, right? We're like, oh man, maybe this guy's misunderstood. He obviously
he made a mistake and
he missed Historia a lot. Yeah. He did whatever we saw at the start of this episode. He did it because he wanted to, ensure her safety. He didn't want her to die and stuff. Exactly.
Bring her back as the true bloodlines. He told her, "I've been thinking of you every day. I've been wanting to hold you just like this. You are again talking so sweetly to her." And, he's a manipulator.
Yeah, definitely. But then he actually does inform her on some little stuff, and he says that the blood of the king flows through your veins, right? And he tells her like the true royal bloodline is carried by the Rice family. Yeah.
And he's telling her all this in front of Eren too, given he is pretty groggy and obviously like incapacitated, knocked out, or not even knocked out. He's not able to really do anything. Yeah. He's extremely groggy. It's
like this dude looks like he's just freaking like shot up for like just different drugs and stuff.
I know. It looks like he's
to make sure that he's like out of it. Yeah. Right.
And I mean, he is explaining this really valuable information in front of him.
Yeah.
But it is because, I mean, spoiler, his intention is to have Historia eat Eren. So I'm sure he's assuming like it doesn't matter what I tell him right now. He's gonna die anyways. So
yeah. And I mean, again, valuable information that he's telling Historia because he tells her, now refers to her as its true heir. Yeah. Right? And he's saying that the power to save all of humanity now rests in your hands.
No pressure.
But then he says, let me show you where it all began. That's very interesting, right? Yeah.
And that's the end of that scene.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's definitely the end of that scene.
The end of at least what we see of Rod Rice, and oh my gosh, all this screaming is already.
We're gonna see them one other time, but it's gonna be when they're literally like gonna be heading to a location, right? But now let's go and let's talk about the whole Hanji thing, and I mean something that we talked about last episode was the script that Hanji and Levi had Ralph read because they weren't getting any information. They weren't getting any information from Sonis because Sonis, again, much like Pastor Nick, was going to go and hold whatever knowledge he had to the grave. Yeah. Right? And then they noticed that something that was very important, something that, like, again, having those kind of like moral codes, right, was loyalty is so important to Sonis. Yeah. Right?
Like that's all, a word is really all a man has. Yeah. Kind of philosophy.
And then, once Ralph starts reading the script, and then Sonis starts overhearing it, and then he realizes that Ralph is freaking, he's just throwing me under the bus.
Yeah, he's under the assumption.
He's selling out
from the script. He's under this assumption that he already told them.
Yeah,
like there's no point in me suffering for information that they already know. I might as well just tell them then. Like I'm not the one that broke, like as he mentions, like I'm not the one that broke the loyalty. I'm not the one that broke the trust. It was him first. Yeah. But I'd rather not, like since they already know, I'd rather not just endure all this pain. So he ended up telling them all the information that they didn't actually know.
Yeah, and then the thing too is that like
such a smart play by Hanji and Levi to be like, hey, read this script right in front at knife point. And yeah, didn't even question him yet, just like right in front of Sonis' cell. Yeah. And yeah, so smart that they did that because it was so much easier to get all the information because he would have gladly died before revealing any information.
Yeah, he literally told him, you're going to have to kill me. Yeah. Just get the torture over and done with, right? But we've come to find out that Ralph wasn't even aware of like...
that
Sonis was the one that's kind of overhearing this because, he goes and he sees Sonis is absolutely tore up, right? And then Ralph asks him like, wait, like... let me see. He goes in and he's kind of like, they actually didn't make you talk, did they? Mm-hmm. Right? But like, you made a vow. You swore a vow to the loyalty of the king. Yeah. Right?
And then Sanus, obviously, with just like hatred in his eyes.
Yeah.
Towards Ralph.
He felt betrayed, right? And then he goes and he starts strangling the guy.
Yeah.
You know, he tells me like, I would have died for you, right? You betrayed me for a bed.
Yeah, for a bed.
Yeah.
I like the way he says it in the
anime.
In the anime too, in the dub. The way he says it is so like just such a punch in the sentence.
Yeah.
You betrayed me for a bed.
And then you know, Hanji, she goes and she tells him, look, I tricked you. You know, like,
hey, you actually didn't tell us anything. It was all you. We had a script.
And now she makes him feel even more guilty now that Sanus has realized that he is the one.
His whole morality is just shattered.
Yeah.
Everything he swore to do is just
gone. But one thing that kind of stood out to me was that Ralph refers to Hanji as a devil, and that's something that I think Marlians refer to these as island people as devils. Is that just kind of a coincidence, or
that's what I was curious about too?
First interior officers, you know, the reason why they're killing people, or at least a part of killing these people who know too much, is because maybe they are from the other side.
Yeah, possibly. Actually, that's a really good.
Like, are they
really good theory?
Marlian spies here? You know,
yeah, like, because obviously thinking that they know too much, we need to kill them is because like they know what. They are aware of the information that these other people who are not in vow with the king should not know. So they have to know of all the, you know, these outside land, you know, obviously they should know about Marley.
Yeah.
They know about all this other stuff. So they could be from Marley. They could just have this Marley information. But in him calling her a devil, that could
really implies, right? That, I mean, that
could be a really good
are aware of, or at least, again, I guess it would make sense in the kind of like, you know, thinking about it, that Marley, of course, they're aware of the island devils. They would want maybe people there to go ahead and kind of control things, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I remember just seeing that word. He referred to Hanji as a devil.
Because the only other time we ever hear the word devil being used in Attack on Titan is if it's being used like from a Marlian
as like a really like derogatory type term.
Yeah, pretty much. You know? Yeah, it's pretty much like it's almost like a slur towards island of parody. But yeah, it is definitely used as a derogatory term.
Yeah,
them calling the island devils and everything like that. And you know, maybe that's a really good. That's not something I really thought about. That could be a really good implication.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know
if anyone has answers out there, any more implications.
If we ever get that answer, I don't know if we ever do. You know,
But it'd be a cool little fun fact because it would make sense because they do have all this information.
Yeah.
And
but we see that, you know, Sanus, he's essentially kind of passing on, you know, this
burden
to Hanji.
And I like Hanji's response though to her being called a devil.
Oh yeah.
She's like, yeah, I think you might be right about that. Like she's not angry. She's just
she actually flips the script.
You're probably right.
To actually, you know, now kind of throwing the fact that she's aware that what they did to Pastor Nick, right? But also saying like, literally, like, his word, like literally, she says, you know, that I bet Pastor Nick felt the same exact way about you. That's why I felt sorry for you, right? She goes, and then she starts literally like berating the guy, you know, like the fact that she calls him a pathetic grown ass man and willing like an infant. Yeah, you know, and yeah. So Hanji, she's a badass, of course, you know.
Yes,
and then
of course.
Karen also gives us an example and says it's like Frieza calling the Saiyans monkeys. Yeah, that's also it's another thing too, where like that's what the you know the derogatory term for these Saiyans are, you know, is that these monkeys and stuff, you know,
like an insulting nickname.
Yeah, because they, you know, obviously they have the tail and everything, blah blah blah. But it's just the disdain and the disgust that Frieza goes out there and like has for like, you know, just
calls them monkeys with hatred.
Monkeys, you monkeys, you know, and stuff. And here we have, you know, Ralph referring to Hanji as a devil. So I couldn't help but kind of put two and two together. I'm like, whoa, hold on. Like, does this guy, obviously, again, my mind went to, they're killing off people who know about, at least are curious about the other side of the wall.
Yeah.
And then, you know, we have this guy referring to somebody as a devil.
And if we know anything about Attack on Titan, it's that everything is so purposeful and so like meticulous that I feel like it's not an accident that he's calling
Yeah,
her
yeah,
devil.
yeah. It's not.
Especially knowing as much as he knows, I feel like it's not accidental.
Yeah.
I feel like it definitely, because Attack on Titan is really good about these purposeful details that, again, we just fly over our head as viewers in the current moment, but then we see again in the future, and then we call backs to stuff and realize, oh crap, that was foreshadowing. Oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. And then it just leads you to more questions.
Yeah, definitely. Actually, before we continue on, it's cool that Kyra mentioned Frieza and Saiyans, because I want to go ahead and talk about a little story that I actually just told you recently, Alex. But so me out of curiosity, I'm like, okay, you know what? You guys know, we've said it before, we're like, we aspire to be voice actors. It's something that's a dream job of ours, you know, but we want to know where to start. But I came across a video on YouTube, and it's voice actor Eric Vale. If anybody knows Eric Vale, actually out of homage here, I'm wearing this is kind of weird. I wouldn't even plan this, but here I am wearing this Shigaraki shirt because he voices Shigaraki. For those of you that he also voices, in terms of the reason why I brought this up, is because for Dragon Ball Z, he voices Trunks, right? And so I was like, okay, this video came up. How do you become a voice actor? From Eric Vale. And he talks about, one, how he got his start, right? And he mentions, hey, I was trying to become an actor. I was in theater. He went to school for it. And then one of his classmates, she told him, hey, you should use your voice. You should try to go ahead and be a voice actor. I can go ahead and kind of reference you to somebody. Would you be interested in maybe kind of, auditioning for it? Eric Vale's like, yeah, absolutely. And so he went in and auditioned. And the audition went well, he said. He's like, all right, they told me that there was nothing there available at the moment, but hey, if there's any casting opportunities that comes up, they're going to give me a call. It's like, all right, cool. So 2 weeks later, I get a call. And the person I did the interview with, the auditioning with, was in a panic. And that person was Chris Sabat. So anybody who knows Chris Sabat is he's the GOAT.
If you don't know his face, you know his voice.
Obviously, again, and we're talking about Dragon Ball Z here, right? Chris Sabat is Vegeta. He's Piccolo. He's done so many voices, right? Chris Sabat is everywhere in anime. Yeah. But anyway, so Chris Sabat, he's calling Eric Vale over in a panic, like, look, somebody just dropped. Do you think you could come in right now and go ahead and audition and just do an audition for this character? And Eric Vale's like, absolutely. Yeah, I'll go ahead and I'll audition. So he went in, he drove over to wherever he needed to be. He auditioned. And then he said that, I was like, all right, cool. I felt good about it. He drove back home. And then, when he got home, there was already a message waiting for him in his answering machine. He went ahead and he listened to it. And it was Chris Sabat telling him he got the role. And that role is Trunks. Yeah. So Eric Vale, his first role was Trunks. That's how I became a voice actor. He said, look, voice acting chose me. I didn't choose voice acting. It chose me, right? And that's so freaking cool, right? But in terms of how to become a voice actor, his advice is to you, how do you become a voice actor? You become an actor. You start acting. You do all that, right? So, but I thought it was very, very funny how Kyron mentioned Dragon Ball Z little reference. It's a video that I saw actually yesterday, and about Eric Vale. And that's how he got his voice acting start. Was he got referenced to go ahead and do an audition. That audition was for Trunks, or not for Trunks. We don't know what that first role is for, but he got the role of Trunks, which is pretty badass.
Kind of hit the lottery first voice acting.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's he literally must have done well enough to whoever fell out of that Trunks role, whatever, Yeah. Hey, that was Eric Vale's his way in and his gain for sure. So yeah, just kind of a little story I want to go ahead and mention, but very cool. And it's a good thing you did too, because again, I'm wearing this shirt because I love Shigaraki, and Eric Vale kicks ass as that voice.
Yeah, Eric Vale is so talented. He's able to change his voice so well too. He's so talented.
Yeah, definitely.
For voice acting to choose him, he sure just seems so talented. Obviously years of training and everything, but yeah, he's so good.
Yeah. Also, somebody who's very talented. Can we talk about Hanji and her talent for absolutely just launching a chair with a kick?
Yeah, that such strength.
This is a wooden chair.
Yeah, and that this is made of because this is this is back then. This is real
this is high quality stuff, right?
Real wood right here, and she's just she does a spinning kick.
Yeah, and so she goes and she literally launches this chair that absolutely kind of explodes upon contact with.
Given we don't know how long that chair was just sitting there. We don't know how again, this is real wood. It's not really treated by anti-insect stuff.
Yeah.
We don't know how well this is, but I mean, she makes it look real easy to kick that thing across the room and just shatter it.
Yeah, definitely. And so she destroyed this freaking furniture. Obviously, Levi's there. He saw it, and I love that Hanji still continues with the jabs. Like towards like what she just dealt with. Yeah. Right. She refers to them as like cockroaches. Yeah. Right. Which is I think is awesome. Much.
Like, I mean, given it's implied, the way that she says it for sure, like there's such like a, like obviously she notices that Levi saw her do that. Yeah. Like, seems I made a mess. Yeah. I encountered a large cockroach. Like she just sounds so like, ugh. Yeah. Obviously thinking about Ralph and obviously thinking about Sonis.
Yeah, definitely Sonis, yeah. But Levi said, all right, it's time for you to fill the rest of the squad in.
Go relay that info that you now are very angry about. But you should relay that info.
So
valuable information.
Let's continue now. So we now return to Hanji. She's filling in the rest of the squad as they're all gathered sitting around the dining table again. Armin asks, so they plan to eat Eren? And we see a petrified look on Mikasa's face as soon as she hears that.
Of course.
And then Hanji, she responds.
Yeah. Eren remembered a conversation between Ymir and Bertolt.
And then we flash back to that same moment as Ymir asks Bertolt,
you hold that against me?
And then Bertolt answers, I don't think so. I mean, I don't know. Suppose I have to believe he didn't want to eat anyone. And then the flashback ends as Hanji, she continues.
Based on this, we can speculate Ymir used to be a mindless titan, just like the others, until she consumed someone. Someone from Bertolt and Reina's group. We've never seen a titan turn back into a human by eating one before. That said, Reiner's comrades aren't normal humans, and there's a different set of rules for humans that can turn into titans. My thought is this. If a titan eats someone with that power, then it'll transform back into a human. What's more, they'll obtain whatever powers that human had. In the battle the other day, Reina was throwing titans at Eren as he tried to run away. He knew that Eren had the power to take command of feral titans with his scream. If Eren's death would have meant that power was lost, he wouldn't have risked it. I think he hoped one of the titans would eat Eren and take his power.
And we see that in this moment, Eren appears to be currently locked away in some dungeon with reinforced rope around his arms, his wrists, and his ankles. We see that he has a blindfold, and he has that metallic mouth guard that we had mentioned in previous episodes that is preventing him to see or to bite. And that rope, we see, is tied to shackles that is connected to the dungeon wall. So they got this dude really reinforced and making sure he's not moving at all, right?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, it's obvious why, but still, they're taking every precaution that they can.
Yeah. And then Hanji, she finishes her point.
My point is, if the government has a titan of their own, they'll use it to eat Eren.
And now Mikasa has heard enough.
Of course.
As we see her heading for the door, but Levi stops her and tells her, calm down. I know you want to get Eren back, but going on a rampage won't help with that. Anyway, we're heading for Rod Rice's estate. Prepare to leave at once. The team, they acknowledge their new orders, and we see the Levi squad. They're now exiting the door. And then Hanji, she informs Levi.
I'll go tell Irvin everything we've learned about the Rice family. I'm sure he's waiting to hear from us. You head for Lord Rice's estate. I'll find you when I can.
And now we go to Irvin's room as we see him reviewing some papers. But then he hears a knock on his door. And then the door opens as a garrison soldier informs Irvin, pardon, sir, but the commander of the garrison has just arrived. And we see that Irvin is surprised by Commander Pixis and his sudden arrival. He's asking to speak with you. And Irvin responds, very well then. And then the soldier leaves, and now we see Pixis standing at the door, and he's out of uniform. Forgive me for dropping in unannounced, but I just couldn't stand still, you see. I finished reading your letter, and I have a few thoughts of my own. The soldier now shuts the door, and we see that Irvin, he's closing the drapes. But first, I have to ask, you are serious, right? And then Irvin answers, yes. I have a plan to retake Walmaria and to dispose the government. And then now, in the dark of night, we see that Rod Rice and Astoria are traveling in a heavily secured carriage with those same men in the black trench coats and bowler hats. But we also see Aaron subdued and asleep at the feet of the carriage. And then we return to a stern Irwin looking at Pixis. And Pixis looks like he has a lot on his mind. Pixis tells Irvin, I knew this would happen someday. The state could only hold people in this cramped world for so long before they began to lash out. And I knew that when that time came, I would have to point my gun at the king I'm sworn to serve. And then Irvin tells Pixis, should a certain hunch of mine prove to be correct, it may be possible for us to carry out this plan without military force. My objective, at least, is a bloodless coup. And then Pixis responds, then by all means, go on. If such an option is plausible, I'm for it. And then Irvin now explains, well, the catch is that the groundwork for this has yet to be laid out. And if things don't go as I think they will, there's no plan B. I and everyone else will be hanged. And Pixis responds, oh, is that all? So, is this another one of your great gambles then? And then Irvin continues, seems I may be a betting man to the end, and I expect the news to come shortly. If you care to wait, I'd like you to hear a story from my childhood. About my father. He was a teacher. To be continued.
Some more foreshadowing moments.
Yeah, we're going to go ahead next episode learn about the importance of Irvin's father, who, again, a part of the poll, we realize that he's not going to survive, unfortunately, but he knows too much. He's a teacher who,
who obviously Irvin thinks very highly of, given, all this information. And Irvin is like, we know he probably gets that from his dad, just the drive that he has to know the truth.
Yeah.
And to find the truth and everything. Like even when he was, what was it? He was smiling that one time where it was like, oh, there's people in those Titans.
Yeah.
And of course,
definitely.
Levi was shocked with that. So those things have been killing
it's like
humans. And then we see Irvin smiling because why are you smiling? We have a step closer to the truth.
Definitely. Any new information that Irvin gets, it's, as you mentioned, it's a step towards, right?
Figuring all this out to save humanity.
And then Levi's like, wow, one full step, huh?
Just one step.
Yeah.
It's better than you guys have done before.
Yeah.
It is what it is, I guess. And then obviously we don't know this exact plan that Irvin and Pixis are alluding to, but we will in coming episodes.
Yeah.
But it has to be, a pretty intense plan for Pixis to be like, are you serious? Irvin claiming that, yes, I guess I'm a gambling man to the end, and if it doesn't work out, we'll be hanged. It's punishable by death.
Yep.
Which we know that Irvin is
treason.
Is a high risk, high reward kind of person.
Yeah.
So.
But he also likes to involve other people,
Yeah.
and all that.
Sadly, he needs a lot of help from other really valuable assets and valuable people.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah, but we'll see. He's
also a brilliant man, and a lot of people have trust in him. I trust him.
But there's also tremendous respect too. But let's kind of go ahead and talk about how it's something they've been very kind of coy about is this conversation, right? Aaron has overheard this conversation, so he wrote it down. He gave this letter to Hanji, and Hanji needs to go ahead and explain it to Irvin. And it's like, okay, what is this conversation? They're not really telling us what this conversation is, right? We come to find out that the reason why, at least, Hanji is aware of the plan to eat Aaron.
Yes.
It's because of this conversation. That conversation that Ymir had with Bertold is pretty much like, Ymir is referring to how she ate one of the comrades, right? One of Bertold and Reina's comrades. And that's why she was able to go ahead and turn back into a human, but now she has these abilities.
This jaw
right?
titan. ability, yeah.
And so now, again, the theory, this idea that they have is that they're going to go ahead and eat Eren so they can take his power, right? And that's why they even mention it's like it also means that they have a Titan, the government has a Titan in waiting that they can go ahead and feed Eren to, right?
They plan on,
Yeah, and
at least that's the assumption.
Yeah, that is the assumption.
Obviously, we don't spoiler. They at this point they have no idea about any spinal fluid.
No.
Any way that you can just
and that just goes
turn into a Titan. But they are already like with just that little conversation, they already are so smart and so observant that they are that close to the truth because that's correct. They got that right just from that little. Do you blame me for it? No, I guess, whatever, you could have eaten somebody,
Yeah.
And for just that small exchange to be like, yeah, their plan is to eat Eren because you need a Titan to eat someone with a Titan ability to become one. And that's why Rhino was trying to chuck Titan. Like, it just, the way that they end up tying things together is just, they're so brilliant.
Yeah, they're very observant, and even in like moments of crisis, where it's like it's so easy to just like tunnel vision, just go ahead and just run, or whatever. Or just like, okay, whatever, what do we need to do? Okay, let's go.
I thought I was going to go this episode without dropping my phone.
Can't do it. You always have to drop your phone. But yeah, I mean, exactly. They're very observant. They go ahead and they retain that information, and then, they're able to go ahead and build these theories that end up kind of becoming true, right? But unfortunately for our past people, if they have theories that end up are kind of becoming true, they're just going to kill them.
You know too much.
All right, we got to go ahead and kill him, right? But obviously that's what they're trying to do here, right? They're trying to kill, the Levi and the squad, because they're knowing too much, right? But going back now to Irvin, right? Something Eddie mentioned is that, to your point, life is about risks, right? And Eddie also says that Irvin is a perfect example of that.
Yeah, he's a very high risk, high reward kind of guy. That's just, he will do what he's got to do to get that truth.
Definitely.
He seeks the truth.
And this is the gamble I'm guessing he's referring to when he tells, Nile Doc, who is the commander of the MPs, right? He goes and he alludes to Nile, like, I have a gamble, right? Because obviously Nile is not giving any sort of information to Irvin. And Irvin's like, all right, well, you're not telling me anything. I'm going to make sure you know that, look, I have something planned. And we see that plan is he's going to try to orchestrate a bloodless coup.
Yeah.
Right? And, man, that could be so difficult to pull off.
Yeah.
Right? Especially in the AOT universe here. Right? Especially when you have a government that's just so willing to just kill, without a whole lot of details. It's more like, okay,
their theory is getting really close to the truth.
Yeah, it's like, okay, we've been instructed to go ahead and kill these people because these people know too much. All right, let's just do that, right?
All right, that's my duty. I'm just gonna, whatever my task is, just do it and murder these people without second questions for the sake of the king.
Yeah, so this bloodless coup idea, it's this gamble is going to be a very, very big gamble, and as Pixis has, he referred to it as another one of your great gambles, huh? Yeah. This is going to be a huge gamble, right?
Of course. He's a gambling man.
Yeah. But we see now, man, that we're starting to get some of the questions that we were given, in the first 2 episodes of season 3. We're starting to get more information, right? We're starting to now really kind of realize, like, what the motivations are for some of these, the government, and for, now with the Levi squad, and Captain Levi, it's, hey, we know their motivation obviously is to get Eren and Historia back. They didn't understand how important Historia is until, thankfully San gave us that information, right?
Yeah.
That she is a part of the Rice family and she is the rightful heir.
Yeah.
And so now again, that just only adds to their motivation that they need to get back Historia and Eren, right? And then obviously now that motivation for them being like, we need to get back Eren because they're going to try to kill him and take his abilities.
Yeah.
Right? And they know that he has, Hanji literally says that he has the abilities to command feral titans. Like, again, the fact that you mentioned, a couple minutes ago that they're so smart to start piecing things together. Yeah. Like the fact that Hanji is so
just so perceptive and just like able to just tie these little occurrences together that obviously in the moment you're so confused. You're like, how is this able to happen? And all it took was just one sentence forward to back exchange, and all of this was figured out
Yeah, definitely. I mean, again,
Very
Hanji, she knows that
impressive. Good job, Hanji.
she's another,
And others, of course.
she's another very, very bright mind in
Of course.
Attack on Titan.
Not
right?
just because she has glasses. She's actually just so curious and so perceptive, and she's brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just as you said.
I mean, she's got that curiosity, but she also has that intelligence. So in a way, she's kind of like a combination of Irvin's dad and Armin's parents.
Yeah. Sadly, yeah.
Tie in whatever he can for this episode.
Yeah. Just as we talked about earlier.
Yeah. And
except she has a little bit more curiosity towards Titans than
I can't tie in
any other person has.
Yeah.
She's definitely
I can't tie in Historia's mom to that because Hanji's not a whore. So
yeah. Sorry, Hanji.
If that was the case, to be like, hey, Hanji, she's a combination of all three of them. No,
she's a whore for knowledge.
Yeah,
she's
definitely.
a whore for Titan knowledge.
Well,
I mean that in the nicest way.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, again, we're seeing the powers that be are trying to go ahead and create plans, which is very, very cool because, you know, we see one side, we got Rod Rice, he has his agenda, right? And then obviously we see now with Hanji and Levi getting more information, you know, we see a plan start finally kind of coming together, and then we start seeing that, hey, the power that be that is the commander of the scouts, Commander Irvin, you know, he has a plan of his own too, right? And I talked about motivations and stuff, and then it's like, with the other side, with Rod Rice, we're gonna see what that motivation is, because as you mentioned, I mean, we're getting a very kind of different lens of who this person is. Yeah. Right.
We're being led. I mean, as
we're being manipulated.
As an audience, you're being led to believe that this person is something that he is not.
Yeah.
And as Historia is being manipulated by them, we are also, as viewers, being manipulated by him in the same perspective in the same time. Attack on Titan is so good at manipulating us into seeing perspectives into different ways, and I can go on and on about that. But just Attack on Titan is so good at that.
One thing that's always going to be consistent is that Mikasa, for whatever reason, like, you know, we see here, as soon as she hears the words, like as soon as she hears a question from Armin, like, so they plan to eat Eren. We can see her, she literally, like, she has a look on her face like
instantly. Like, there's no rationale. It's just, I need to go save him.
Yeah.
Like we don't even know exactly where he's at.
Exactly.
Like, I'm just going to go searching for him. All right. You think about it first. Don't just act.
And then what Levi said is like, I mean, you going on a freaking tearing spree is not gonna,
a rampage is not
gonna solve anything.
Yeah, let's actually think about this first. Let's make a little bit of a plan.
Yeah.
We all know that you're very capable, and you are very well aware of that too. But let's have a plan.
Definitely.
Let's figure things out first, because we're just figuring out why he wants to be eaten, and but her loyalty doesn't change.
Yeah. Well, we'll go ahead and we'll finish up that episode next week,
where we will hear about Irvin's father, and he was a teacher.
Yeah, we'll find out more about him, which I'm actually excited about, because, you know, again, there's certain parts of the story where I'm very, very foggy about, because it's like it's stuff that's so just quickly put into the story, right?
When there's already like so much going on to the story, like it's hard to remember all of it.
It's something that obviously, I don't want to say it's not significant, but it's just like such a small part of the big picture, you know, where it's like it's so easy to forget.
Piece to this giant puzzle that obviously we're all very well aware of the main idea of the puzzle, but all these little pieces get kind of foggy in how this puzzle came to be.
Yeah, and that's why I was excited to go ahead and go back and dive into Ymir's, you know, origin, because it's something that I remember, like, I was very, very cloudy about. I was like, okay, like, what, like, how and stuff, you know, and all that. And so when we went back and we really discussed it, and it was cool to go ahead and you know, really go back and learn more about it, you know, so it was cool. But yeah, I again, we love going and learning more stuff about Attack, and
we're only going to see more foreshadowing moments as more episodes come out and more seasons come out, because again, there's so much like parallels to stuff, and there's so much like foreshadowing. Like it's just so in depth. That I mean, I already know. And the rest of this final season, we're gonna see so many more parallels and so many more like hints at stuff, and just like more questions, and hopefully we get more answers. And yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, and then hopefully next week we can go ahead and start talking about that new episode that we watched. You know,
so go watch it.
Yeah,
we're
giving you guys a week to go ahead and you know,
this is
plenty
your
of time.
guys' Attack the Talk homework. Go watch that.
That new episode so that we can go ahead and talk about it. Because again, as Lexi mentioned, we don't want to be the reason why people get spoiled.
Of course,
you know, we would hate to be that reason. You know, it's like, man, for any of us to go ahead and spoil something that would just be so great to witness on your own and experience
its own,
it. Like, oh my god,
journey. And
so go watch it.
Yes, that's your homework. Go watch that.
Go watch it, and then we'll go ahead and we'll Eddie's also saying go watch it. But yeah, we're excited to go ahead and talk about it because there's so much to talk about, of course. And then we'll talk about it, and then hey, however long it takes us to get to that point, eventually we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna actually go talk about it more in depth and all that and stuff, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. And man, all I'll say, Lex, is that watching that episode, I thought I was ready, but I just wasn't ready for the things that I saw, And again, it's like, it's just everything that you can ask for in Attack on Titan.
Yeah, definitely delivered that episode. That episode definitely delivered. But again, in Attack on Titan fashion, keeps you wanting more.
Yeah.
I read the manga.
Yeah. Rubs a mustache. Yeah. But that's the thing, though, is that like, one of my friends asked me yesterday, is this how the story's going to end? I mean, we've talked about it. Like, this is going to be an anime original ending, right?
Yeah, that's what I actually was recently talking about this with a friend, talking about how it's like, because we know that Isayama originally had that manga ending. Then he decanonized it, or whatever the correct term is, and then he made a new ending. Made that one canon. Yeah. And from trailers that we've been seeing, or even just little insights that we've been seeing about the coming anime final season, there's some visuals that we're seeing that aren't in the manga. So it seems like, from what I've been hearing, like we're getting an anime original ending. Yeah. Which is, I mean, just its own. I'm very thankful that, like, I think it's so cool that anime watchers, like, just because again, me and you, we're both are pretty much anime.
Eddie too, I guess.
Yeah, like me and you are both
there's anime watchers.
Yeah, I was gonna say me and you are both anime only watchers. I mean, you've read the first couple volumes of the manga.
I have, yeah.
After watching the anime, of course, but yeah, as anime only watchers, it's cool that we get to have our own individual experience with Attack on Titan, and I have no doubt that this ending is going to be
going to deliver for sure.
Because Mappa always has. I think Chiron is also anime only, and and Eddie is also anime only, and
same, bro. Honestly, same.
Attack on Titan just makes me want more. Yeah, that's what they're so good at.
But Eddie here, he's saying that I heard that some events that happened in this newest episode are indicating that we're getting the manga ending, but who knows? As long as Isayama is satisfied and feels completed as he drops the pen, I know the ending will deliver. Very well said, Eddie. I love that.
I also heard that, I'm not sure this is true because, there's a lot of speculation on everything. I also heard that it's actually the Mappa writers that are writing the anime original ending.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa, that is a lot of responsibility there.
Yeah. I mean, Mappa has always delivered in their stuff. I mean, with obviously Attack on Titan, with Chainsaw Man, I think they also did Spy Family. They have been delivering after, like, I can only imagine how tired that they are, but they have just been constantly delivering. Like, I haven't gotten disappointed by them at all so far.
Hell yeah.
And even with the way that they, given, maybe some things don't look correct to the manga, some things don't, but even in the re-release Blu-ray version of stuff, I don't know if you've seen it, but I recently saw a comparison between the original show animation and like the type of scenes, and then the Blu-ray versions. It's already like, I didn't realize it could get any better. Mm-hmm. Like, it is just so cool seeing the little changes that they've done.
That's what's really cool. There's times where that comes up over on like my recommended on YouTube and stuff. When they do go ahead and they alter, because what's cool is that it's almost like they're perfectionists, you know, or at least it's cool that they go back and they want to go ahead and clean up, as you mentioned, you know, certain things that maybe look a little weird or some things, you know, where they know that they could be better and all that. And yeah, it's, you got to just give it up. Again, as Kyron mentioned, they don't miss, you know, I know.
Of course. You can tell that they really, like, this isn't just a job to them.
Yeah.
Like, they are really invested in this. Like, from something as little as like, oh, we changed his eyes and the shadowing in this scene.
Yeah.
To something as big as like, yeah, we added this character in the background, or we added this within here, and it just like makes it so much better, and you're so much more like immersed into it. Like I've been seeing a couple comparisons of from the final season.
Me too. Yeah.
What it was as we watched it in the show to what the Blu-ray version is, and it's just been so amazing seeing that. And yeah, I have full faith and trust into Mappa if they are writing this anime ending.
Yeah. Very, very cool. I'm very curious. Actually, I want to ask our new friend, Valo Sun God, if Sun God, if you're still here. I'm just curious because, as you mentioned earlier, that you're just here for the adventure, man, and we appreciate that. But I'm just curious, how far along in Attack on Titan are you? Have you been watching? Because I know something earlier we were talking about just a few minutes ago about like just being anime watchers and all that. So I'm kind of curious if our friend Sun God has been watching. At what point? Or where are you at Attack on Titan? Are you caught up?
Because he mentioned earlier in the stream that he doesn't read the manga. But yeah, how far along are you?
Yeah,
in
exactly.
The anime.
Yeah, so
because I think all of us in chat right now are anime only.
I think so, yeah, because I know that with Zach, he reads the manga and stuff. You know, like Zach's one of those people where he
once he wants to learn so much more. He fully dives in. Gets any bit of information that he can. And I know that Marco also has read the manga. He's not in stream with us right now, but.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, if Sun God, if he's at work right now, no worries. So Kyron, if you can, if you know,
no worries.
If he watches the anime or I mean, how far along he is, you know, we'd appreciate that. I was just kind of curious. I'd like to know.
Because again, we are a little community. Of course, we want to cater to you guys just as much as you guys help us out and everything. So we want to be sure that, you know, all the information that we're talking about is interesting to you guys, and that we're all having a nice conversation, not leaving anyone out.
For sure. But yeah, I want to take the time to go ahead and let's give it up to Mappa.
Oh,
or just freaking
definitely
for kicking ass.
Yes, good job, Mappa. You guys, like who is it? Kyron said they don't miss.
Yeah, they don't.
They are so good at what they do. Oh, Sun God.
Sun God said, watch it, of course. Just not fun with the manga. Yeah, no worries.
That's
so
fine.
Are you? Yeah. So Sun God, are you caught up? With the anime, just kind of curious.
Yeah, just to see.
That way I know that not to spoil anything too crazy, you know. Because I know at the times we're in our discussions and stuff, you know, we go ahead and we a lot of times refer to something that happens really far down the line. You know,
because, of course, in Attack on Titan manner, they foreshadow things way
there's a lot
into the
of
future.
Foreshadowing for sure.
So, of course, in our analysis, we're going to tie that together. We're going to say that.
Awesome.
Oh, okay, cool. Good to know.
Cool.
Yeah, it's good
Thank
that
you,
we're not
Sun God.
talking about
Appreciate
the newest episode.
If
you do have time, Sun God, please go check that out. It delivers.
Yeah.
It definitely delivers.
Yeah. As Lexi mentioned, you know, you have some homework, and that homework we'll give you a week to go ahead and watch that new episode.
To watch that hour.
But yeah, it's very cool. Thank you so much for that, Sun God. Awesome. So Sun God,
and we're happy to have you, of course.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Thank you so much for tuning into our stream and staying in, even while you're at work.
Yeah.
Jeez, thank you so much. Wow, you really got that loyalty. Thank you. Wow. And thank you, Kyron, for introducing us to your friend Valo Sun God, as well as introducing Sun God to us.
Yeah, we love it. You know, honestly, Kyron has done so much for us, man.
Yeah,
Kyron. I mean, all our friends here.
The support that our friends of the show have is just like unmatched. Like, I can't believe that we just happen to just stumble upon these just amazing people.
I was gonna say, I mean, we have our Levi Squad members, you know, joining us. Obviously, we have Eddie, we have Kyron, right? And hey, look, Sun God's climbing up those ranks.
Yeah,
you know?
is. He's getting
Sun
up
God's
there.
doing his thing over in his training as a cadet. He's doing his thing. We love to see it, right?
His assists are getting a little, up there in stats.
Yeah, stats are. He's climbing up the ranks for sure.
He's getting up there.
You know, he's a good prospect that we see over in the in the cadets for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
But I mean, our Levi squad members here. I mean, they kick ass. You know, I mean, we thank you guys so much for the support and all that.
Your guys' loyalty continues to shock us.
He's still got a ways to go.
Yeah, Kyron's don't forget.
Yeah, he's still got a ways to go. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I love it.
But in Attack the Talk fashion, thank you guys so much. We will die on this hill of constantly thanking you guys and appreciating you guys. Like, you guys still continue to shock us in your loyalty and your support. And I don't even have the words. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely.
We go on and on about it every episode, but again.
But that just goes to show, man, that we don't take any of this stuff really for granted, you know? Like, we are just so appreciative of just all the support, and your guys is just the fact that you guys just take the time, man, to just join us. And, we want to make this just an enjoyable experience amongst all of us as friends, you know, just to talk about some AOT and all that. And then, there's times where I'm like, man, I'm going over the episodes as, we're doing the prep stuff. And I'm like, how are we going to make this episode like lively and fun? You know, like we're talking about all this BS crap of like, terrible parents and
all of this
murder
behind the scenes,
and it was like, man, the freaking the government being so like just all the collusion and stuff and all that. And like, how are we gonna make this episode fun?
Like what conversations are we about to have with our little community here?
And
our Levi squad,
definitely. But I mean, we're just so thankful that you guys just join us, man. It's so much fun just being able to go ahead and talk AOT with you guys. But yeah, definitely Kyron's day one, Eddie day one for sure.
Yes, thank you.
The day ones. I mean, we love you guys so much.
Thank you for giving your hearts.
You know what's funny is that like I had these kind of like visions and dreams and stuff like that and aspirations for the podcast where it's like obviously we have a ways to go talking about all these episodes, in chronological order. And I'm like, man, you know what?
And splitting them up into multiple parts.
Yeah, and I'm like, shoot, man, I would love to go ahead and keep climbing up these ranks to where it's like maybe this is a form of like I want to go ahead and just do some manifestation, but I'm like, hey, can you imagine actually having a legit studio and being able to go ahead and have our friends really join us and stuff like live and stuff, and so where we can literally
our Levi squad come in and join us.
Yeah, and being able to go ahead
being able to like live share ideas and insights and everything with everyone would be
and just
so
go
cool.
into some serious full in depth, and hell yeah, and like that would be awesome. And again, it's something where I'm like have these visions and stuff of like where I would love the podcast to go and all that, but dude, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
That's
a dream. That's the goal. And we would love to take you guys along with this. Thank you so much for joining us with this journey. And
well, because we've said it before. I mean, look, our friends of the show aren't just people that we have in chat. I mean, you guys are very much a part of this podcast.
We're where we are today because of you guys.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are a part of the podcast, no doubt.
Definitely.
You guys know that for sure.
Yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, I mean, is there anything else we really need to focus on? Because I know that now we're going to go ahead and learn more about, as we mentioned, Irvin's father and learn more about that.
Yeah.
We'll see how this gamble pays out and all that.
Yeah.
I want to learn more about Kenny and his involvement. Kenny is such an interesting character to me, And
we don't get to see a whole lot of behind the scenes stuff that he's doing. Or that, like, how we got into this, what he's a part of. Like, again, we'll get more into that in the whole Levi backstory that we get to see.
But Kenny is one of those characters where you would love to go ahead and see, like, if there was, like, a sort of, again, we talked about, like, a spin-off type series and all that, where it's like, okay, now we're focusing on, maybe certain characters and all that. There's, like, two that kind of, well, there's one that I would love to see, and I'll go ahead and I'll say, and we've talked about it before, but, like, Kenny is one of those characters where, like, oh, man, it'd be cool to go ahead and see Kenny's upbringing, and Kenny gonna go ahead and start like why and how Kenny became the Kenny that we see. You know, what kind of fucked up stuff happened to him in his childhood to make him become this, serial killer,
Yeah, because we just pretty much see him, like our introduction to him is when he's already like this slimy behind the scenes kind of guy. Like we already see him as that. We don't know what brought him to this, what his lifestyle choices have been, his upbringing has been.
Yeah.
We don't know a whole lot about him, but yeah, I think if Attack on Titan decide to do a spin-off of a character, I think Kenny would be a really interesting one. Yeah, we're turning into Jehovah's Witnesses.
I love it. He says, we're going to start talking to people to follow the IG and have them join. And then Kyron, slow down.
Yeah.
Because we're turning into Jehovah's Witnesses, and then just Kyron's JK, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think what it is, though. We appreciate your... I guess you're advertising of us, that you're spreading the word about us and everything.
No, but I love where Eddie's coming from, though, because I think Eddie also sees how much fun this is, being able to go ahead and talk as a collaborative, just group and stuff, and so obviously we've talked about it where it's like the more the merrier,
Yeah.
And
we really appreciate your guys' support and spreading the word and everything, telling your friends and all that. I mean, don't go, berating people. I mean, like, you need to watch this, join this now. Just be like, hey, if you're interested in Attack on Titan, we go through every episode in chronological order.
I think it's safe to say that if you are a fan and you love Attack on Titan, then you're going to go ahead and enjoy what we do here, because I mean, we go ahead and the fact that we're talking about some serious in-depth conversations of Attack on Titan. I mean, it's like if you love Attack on Titan, then you're going to appreciate it. You know,
even if you're not here for us, you could still be here for the people in chat, because there's some awesome people that we have, our Levi squad and everything. So.
Yes, smarter minds than me for sure.
Yeah, you guys are way more perceptive and knowledgeable than us are on certain Attack on Titan topics. So yeah, we're just here to get that content organized for you.
To go ahead and kind of just make sure that we have a formal kind of like lane that we're gonna just go ahead and drive through.
Just make sure they have some kind of structured what we're gonna talk about, and sometimes it's not as structured as we planned, and that's okay.
But that's the beauty of it, though.
Yeah, that's okay.
Tangents and stuff, talk about just random stuff. I love it. But another, I mean, as I said, Kenny would be a fun little spin-off series, but obviously another one too is like, I love
Lucy.
Yeah. When you say Lucy,
I love Lucy.
Oh, Karen wants the TikTok password so we can advertise it.
Not our TikTok password, but maybe we could get into talks about that, because that TikTok hasn't been touched in a while, unfortunately.
Yeah. I don't. In terms of the social media start of it, the whole part of it, I just I don't know.
That's its own like full-time job. That's been pretty hard to put, because it's one of those things. It's one of those things where it's like, yes, I do want to post more on the Instagram, on the TikTok and everything, because if you guys weren't aware, I pretty much made all the edit stuff for the TikTok and for the Instagram, and we have Zach behind the scenes helping us out.
Yeah, Zach does the polls.
He does the polls for the stories and everything, and that's all really, there's so much behind the scenes stuff that I really want to start doing, where I would love to see flourish more. But yeah, it's a matter of, I am like a full-time I'm taking 19-unit full-time college student with a job and everything. I mean, it's its own full-time job. Not
you're also doing other stuff like you're dog sitting and all that.
I got these other
athlete and stuff, and
so
Kyron says that's why I'm here for the TikTok uploads.
Yeah, he's like, I can do it. The thing is like, yes, I could do a quick like what I've done before on Instagram. I could do a quick episode clip that we discussed. Like a clip from the episode that we did discuss, and just put that out there and announce that a new episode is out. But for the TikTok, I really, really want to just be more creative with that and put my all into it. And it's hard knowing that that's why nothing's really been posted, because I haven't had time to put my all into it.
Well, I mean, Kyron, he's extending a helping hand. Maybe you can go ahead and talk with Kyron about all that stuff,
I would love to have a little conversation about that, to see what our I
would love to go ahead and even just maybe talk with Kyron and see what Kyron has in mind for the TikToks and stuff,
I would love to see your vision of it.
Yeah, because that'd be really awesome.
If our visions, if it seems to flourish into something really great, if you have that sort of that creative eye, and you have the facilities for it, then yeah. Because I used to do like full on like in depth like editing of our actual podcast, and like would make little edits about it.
Yeah, when we were with our early on, when we were audio, right?
Yeah, when we were just audio, and I was like, oh, there's no visual. I'm just gonna do this. And obviously, before we had Nate editing and creating thumbnails for us for the YouTube. Which, if you guys haven't subscribed to the YouTube or checked out the YouTube at all, please check that out. Nate is doing really great work on there at Attack the Talk podcast on YouTube. Please check that out. He's doing some great stuff on there. Our
literally
thumbnails look so professional. They look so good. His editing is so like, he understands like our vision and our creative outlet and everything. And he just,
the thing with Nate too is that like if you guys were familiar with our YouTube, before Nate put in all this work, I mean, you would see that there wasn't a thumbnail, and then it's like we were just uploading what the episodes, what we have based off, just on Twitch and stuff, right?
Yeah.
But Nate literally went back to every single one of our past episodes and gave it a legit thumbnail, gave it an awesome title and all that. And, he just put in the work to, again, as I mentioned, in the past 2 episodes of that, just he wants to make it more visually pleasing. And Nate has put in some serious work, and definitely go check that out, guys, over in the YouTube and all that. But it's cool too. Like, I know that, again, Kyron, I love Kyron that you want to help, man. And I love it,
Yeah.
But definitely
we could probably be in talks in the coming weeks about what our goal would be for the TikTok and stuff, and what you would be able to do. Oh, thank you, Eddie. Thank you.
Yeah.
Amazing thumbnails. Something I need to get on top of. That's all. Again,
bro, you're talking to the, preaching to the choir here, man. Like thumbnails, no clue, bro. Like something like, again, Nate, he's just.
Yeah, we don't know. He's I have a couple hands in editing and everything, but it's not in depth like.
Yeah.
It's not to the magnitude that Nate does. He's what he does is good work because he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
My little random edits of Sasha very beast-like eating some bread out of
demon mode right there.
Full demon mode, eating bread out of Krista's arm with a Attack the Talk logo on her face is about as far as I got.
Have you heard of goblin mode?
That sounds familiar, but I don't know much about it. I just know that it's like a pop culture internet kind of thing.
Well, what it is, I think it's from what I saw, it's goblin mode is like, let's think about, again, for like dating and all that, right?
Okay.
It's when you say like, I'm gonna go in goblin mode, right? I'm gonna go into this date just full on goblin mode.
What does that mean?
That pretty much from what I saw.
Go all in?
No, it just means that I am gonna go ahead into this date, not go ahead and try to just be somebody I'm not. I'm gonna be unapologetically myself, and just go into it like that, and I think that's what goblin mode is just going into it and just being 100% yourself.
Okay. It's not what I thought goblin mode meant, but I'm glad that's what it means.
Yeah. Because, again, when I saw it too, I was like, what the hell, goblin mode? That doesn't sound very good and all that, right?
Because you think of a goblin, you don't think of...
Yeah. But
something necessarily
and again,
positive.
You might need to fact check that, but...
yeah.
But I think that's
going to be our meaning of goblin mode.
It's just be unapologetically yourself.
Yeah, go goblin mode.
But Kyron brings up something, 2 years. Has it been 2 years?
Has it really? I need to check.
Damn. Or did we start in August?
The TikTok.
Maybe it was August and we're going to be 2 years in August.
Well, maybe I should have checked the Spotify then, because on TikTok our first upload was 8-13-21.
Really?
Yeah. So that's pretty close.
I think it was in August.
2 years ago of August, yeah.
This coming August would be 2 years, right?
Yes, this coming August is going to be 2 years.
Yeah. I got to check that because now Kyron's got me curious.
I know. 2 years? No way. Time really does fly by when you're so involved with Attack on Titan.
Let's go way back to, it was
then when
August 11th.
Dang.
2021.
Yeah, so in August it'll be 2 years.
Yeah.
Dang.
It's crazy, huh?
Dang.
The concept of time.
Then when was the last the last time I uploaded on the TikTok was October 17th of 2021.
You know what? Give Kyron that password.
Oh my god.
Give Kyron that password.
Yeah, that's
I remember like
yeah, that was
yesterday.
when we
It's been
were still
84
all
years.
audio with Zach and everything.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's
And that's when literally we're
Sorry,
just
guys.
barely figuring it out.
I didn't realize it went by that far.
We're barely figuring it out, and the audio, the quality is not
Yeah, the
anywhere
quality's
near
not what it
where
is
we're
now.
at
We didn't
now.
have the same equipment, the same knowledge.
Yeah. And yeah. And again, too, the quality of where we're at now, it's a lot of it's a huge credit to Nate. Because Nate is the one who really just, referenced a lot of just really all of the equipment that we're using,
Yeah.
So again, Nate has been a substantial
Yes.
part of why this podcast has just kind of just been growing and all
He's
that.
helped give this
10K
podcast
video
quality.
quality.
Yeah, exactly. 10K. Yeah, he's helped give this podcast quality.
Yeah.
For sure. He is the reason why you guys can hear us smacking our lips when we drink water, and that you can hear our sniffs, and that you could see every pore in our face.
Man, it's crazy to think back, man. Like 2021, August 11th. Like, wow. And
We were sitting around we were crouched around a TV tray with your phone recording.
Yeah.
And like not feeling comfortable enough to really like
We were all nervous. We're like, oh my gosh.
Inside in, it was very like, okay, like let's just go through episode by episode. Like you couldn't really see our personalities because we were too. It was very tense. It was very new. We were very much new.
And we didn't really go off script at all because we were just like, all right, let's go ahead and let's just focus on the script and stuff like that, And
because we went through entire episodes. And show my girlfriend your response. Oh, thank you, Kyron. Yeah. Because we went through like an entire episode in like 1 hour.
Yeah.
And now we're going through
some serious
like 10 minutes of an episode in almost 3 hours.
Breakdowns,
Yeah. Given that it's not just the breakdown too, it's also us talking to you guys. And, that now that we're live, we have your guys' insight and stuff, and we could talk about the Q&As and the polls. And
well, that's the thing is that early on, we didn't really have any Q&As and polls to really talk about,
Yeah, because we didn't really have like the community that we do now, given, obviously you guys here are day ones.
Yeah.
It was when we were just so new to the podcast game. We didn't really know how to utilize a good community that we have now, and it's only growing, and it's just amazing. And I definitely do not purposely go back and listen to those very early on episodes because, gosh, it doesn't seem like so long ago until I actually think back on it and how I was feeling.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, the nerves. Even when we first started recording and we're being like, okay, don't.
We were so just like rookies and stuff because we did a whole entire like stream and all that. And what happened was it didn't save.
It didn't even save. Yeah. So
it didn't save. So we were going to go ahead and do, the next episode, but I think it might have been Kyron too, was like, hey, just do the episode again. Like, we're here for it and stuff,
do it again. Do it all over again.
Yeah. And Kyron says, kind of nostalgic. I'm not going to lie. I revisited them last week.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
To think that it's been so long.
Yeah.
And we're still here.
But you know what, guys? That's what's going to be so great about this is as we continue on with this awesome journey is that we're going to have a serious library of just content that we can always go back on and stuff. And then who knows, down the line, man, as people, as they become introduced to Attack on Titan and they get like late to that game, they might end up somehow coming across this podcast, coming across the YouTube channel, whatever, coming across, you never know and stuff. And then it's like it's so cool to have like this content, this library of just like awesome just breakdowns of Attack on Titan, and
of effort and content and creativity and your guys' help and insight and support and
hearing the intro music.
Hearing the intro music.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, again, it's one of those things where, we're going to have that, awesome ability to just, again, like Kyron mentioned, like just be nostalgic and revisit, you know, and stuff. And I do remember that intro music, like remember that intro music that we had when we were just audio and stuff, when we go ahead and we're getting ready to upload onto, you know, the Anchor site and stuff like that, and we can choose the intro music to go ahead and start the music with, you know.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, crazy, huh?
Wow.
Yeah, the lo-fi hip hop. Yeah,
I can hear it like right now in my head.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Crazy, huh?
That's that's crazy to think that something that we're currently doing and we're like not even halfway through it is already so nostalgic. Oh my gosh.
One thing that I really do, it's cool. We talked about like intro music and stuff like that, is that like I appreciate, again, I'm gonna go ahead and bring up Nate again, but like Nate has this really cool Attack on Titan themed intro and stuff, you know, and then even the ending. Like if you guys go ahead and watch the YouTube videos that get uploaded, and you hear the awesome little like ending theme that Nate has for us, right? And but yeah, it's one of those things, man. It's just like I love it, and that specific ending theme is something that is so nostalgic for me too, because it brings me back to like, you know, the first time hearing it as like the first time watching Attack on Titan, right?
Yeah, it's
and I love it.
Nostalgic for multiple reasons.
Yeah, so if anybody hasn't heard that ending theme that Nate has put at the end of our YouTube videos, you know, I think it's also there too for Spotify as well. Right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, because we have the video there.
Because Spotify is also video compatible and stuff, right? I believe it's also there in Spotify as well. But
watch the podcast on Spotify.
But I love that Nate added that, and it's like, oh my gosh, like it's so cool. As it like you hear the awesome, you know, AOT ending, and then you hear us kind of like fading away and stuff, you know, that
the reverb
and yeah, I love it so much. But yeah, it goes to show how much I've aged, huh, Kyron? We're going almost 2 years. And look at me, man.
I think it's really cool to see how much we've just grown as people. Because yes, there is still time where, you know, we get nerves and everything. Like just earlier in this episode, when I know I had to do this scream crying of Alma, I was obviously nervous, but definitely nowhere compared to as nervous as I was when we first started streaming, like when we first started the podcast. But yeah, I think it's really cool just seeing how much we've grown as people, how comfortable we are, how comfortable we've gotten, just like being able to share our thoughts and, you know, go through Attack on Titan and show our passion for it. And we're only going to keep growing. And I think that's so cool. And obviously seeing our community grow.
I want us to grow to a point where like, man, where we have, you know, our friends like somehow joining us in an even bigger kind of capacity.
I want to see you guys growing with us.
Like, it'd be so cool to go ahead and have like a legit crew where it's like, man, like we can go ahead and have our friends, you know, over on like video and stuff, you know, and like literally you guys are like, you know, like on camera with us and stuff, and then man, that'd be so
hanging out
cool
with you guys
and all that. So Kyra mentions, I don't know if y'all believe in God or even a higher power, but man, after I finished the manga, I started looking for an Attack on Titan podcast, and I think y'all actually just started making these at the same time I started looking. You know what, man? Like I am a man of God, and you know, it's I full-heartedly believe that for us, I mean, there's always a plan. There's always like opportunities that are kind of presented in our lives and stuff, you know. And I believe that too, man. I think that we have all been connected in a sort of like fate for sure. Yeah. You know, and
whether you guys, you know, share that same belief or not, either way, we're so thankful that you guys are here and that you guys have found us, regardless on how you guys have found us, regardless on, you know, how we have found you. Thank you so much for joining us in this journey.
Definitely.
And yeah, I think that's so cool that the same time Kyron was looking for an Attack on Titan podcast
is when we were just starting.
We were just, you know, creating one.
Yeah.
And
you know what's funny too is that like Kyron, I was looking for like a Attack on Titan podcast too. And then I think some of the ones that I saw, like there was one where literally with one episode, one of their podcast episodes, they were covering like season 1, episode 1 through 12. And I'm like, whoa, what are we doing here? I'm like, there's so much to unpack. There's so much to literally talk about. And I'm like, man, you know what? It's like we can literally go through an entire episode and like, remember we actually tried focusing on an entire episode.
Yeah.
Right. But then we realize we're missing out on so much information.
Yeah, we're like,
right?
we are really just speeding through this.
Yeah.
Like, we got to start cutting this down, or because, I mean, sitting down for a podcast for like 4 or 5 hours would have been way too much. So let's just split it up.
We'll split it up, but also too, we'll be able to go ahead and...
we don't mind prolonging this ending, like prolonging the journey. So.
Yeah. But that's the thing too, is actually, there's going to be more content and stuff, available. But yeah, I mean, it just felt like we were just really cutting corners. We were...
we felt like Attack on Titan deserved so much more.
Well, because there's so much to talk about. That's the thing,
dive into than just us. Like, again, we couldn't go through a full episode unless we just completely stuck to the script, did not talk to anyone in chat, and then focus exactly
on the story and getting through the story and all that.
To do. That's not our vision of how we saw this podcast going.
No.
We wanted to give Attack on Titan give the writers give Isayama the attention that his story deserves.
Definitely. And
give you guys the attention that you guys deserve, and able to tie it all together. So yeah, thank you. And we're only going to continue growing, continue progressing. And yeah, thank you guys so much.
But then I remember I was like looking, I was like, man, you know what? Like, I remember I was thinking to myself, like, we literally talk about, like, you, me, and Zach, we talk about Attack on Titan so much. Yeah. And we get into some crazy, like, in-depth discussions.
Yeah. And
we can do way better than just focusing on one episode. I mean, 1 through 12 or whatever, I'm like, and that's when I was like, presented with the idea. I'm like, let's do this, all right? And then,
that's no shade to that podcast. No,
there's serious shade to that podcast. Like, what are you guys doing?
Like, no, actually,
serious shade. Like, that's laziness,
It's definitely a different.
I'm sure you guys are probably higher quality in terms of, like, maybe production wise, but guess what? We're higher quality in terms of discussion, man.
Yeah. It's definitely not the plan that we had, and not the creative, not the view that we had on an Attack on Titan podcast, and I'm sure not a view that a lot of other people had. So that's why we were like, you know what? Let's do our own.
Yeah, in all reality, I mean, anybody who's a fan of AOT, it's like, man, you know what? We love them, but we got a whole other kind of love we got going on here. It's like we got love for you for being a fan of it, but this is where the real love is, like we're showing real love and admiration for Attack on Titan. And we got our friends here, man, that like literally.
We just got some more time to put some more information.
We're showing serious love, that's what it is. Like, that's, hey, call it, just gotta be real. I love it. But let's kind of go
respond and be like, that's not love. That is addiction.
Yeah. I don't care. You know what? I'm addicted to AOT.
Hyperfixation. But, you know what? Fine, it is. And we're not going to be shy about it.
I love it. So Kyron, here early on, we're talking about how the fate and everything of us all coming together. And then Kyron's saying, Ymir's plan, the podcast is the coordinate tree.
Yeah, the podcast, everything ties together.
Yeah, and then Eddie's mentioned, say, hey, he found us on his Explore page, funny enough.
Oh,
so
cool.
Credit to that Explore page. It's awesome.
Yeah, thank you, Explore page. Probably from the amount of hashtags I threw in on our post.
Yeah, but also it's a credit to Eddie being a huge AOT fan. That's what it is, and stuff, because, I mean, if Eddie wasn't the fan that he is, and we talked plenty of times about how insightful Eddie is and all the different crazy points that he like, the different, insight and all that in chat that he goes and includes, where we're like, oh, shoot, again, I didn't see it from that kind of point of view, or Eddie has brought up, like, crazy, like, facts about something that happens, like
callback,
and all that, and even stuff that I'm not even aware of, like
little facts.
Like, what were we talking about? Was it last week or was it 2 weeks ago, where Eddie mentioned about some sort of like spinoff or something or whatever? Eddie, do you remember what you were talking about? Oh man, what was it? I remember even Kyron was like, "Wait, hold on, like there's that, whatever,
Yeah. Oh, I think oh gosh.
What was it again? But, and the point I'm trying to make is, Eddie, man, like,
he was talking about how there's
you're so freaking smart, bro.
There's a prequel.
Yeah, prequel.
To yes.
Before the
Attack
Fall.
on Titan before the Fall.
Exactly, where I'm like, wait, hold on, wait. Like, this is a thing? But yeah. I love it.
Bro, I'm a 21-year-old making Attack on Titan music videos. I need a life. Hey, I'm 22,
No.
dedicating every
Don't.
day of every week of my life.
Yeah. Don't
to a
even go there,
podcast.
Eddie.
and talking to some other people that are also into it.
Eddie, you've mentioned what your aspirations are, man. You know what? Like, you are creating this content, man, you know, and that's just the start of it, my friend. Hey, these Attack on Titan music videos, that's just going to be one small branch of what it is that you're trying to eventually get to, you know? Just keep doing the things that you love, man, and keep working hard to go ahead and try to just, you know, accomplish these dreams that you want to accomplish. You know, like you said, you want to go ahead and aspire to become like this filmmaker, you know, you want to you know, even get into like directing and stuff like that, you know, and that's awesome. But just know, man, that like you got to put the work in, of course.
Yeah.
But if that just means you're starting by doing these Attack on Titan music videos, man, you never know where X amount of years down the line where you're going to go ahead and think back. Like, we're thinking back now. We're going back, oh man, you know, it's almost 2 years. Like, you're going to get to a point and be like, hey, remember when I used to make those Attack on Titan music videos?
Those,
and now, who knows, Eddie, you're going to be making this other kind of crazy content, you know, and stuff. And it's like, dude, like, we all got to start somewhere for sure, you know? And but also, as I mentioned before, man, this is just like Attack on Titan is something that we love, you know? Like, it's awesome. McCarron said, I'm definitely the oldest of the Levi squad, bro. Like, don't worry about it at all, man. You don't know how old I am.
AJ didn't say his age, so.
You don't know how old I am, bro.
He doesn't look his age. He's actually 47.
Wow. Exposed.
No.
No, I'm not that old.
No. Not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah, Eddie says, yeah, Kyron, you have the most experience and wisdom.
Definitely. Love it.
Yeah, I love all the love and positivity that's being spread through the chat right now. Yeah. We're about 2 hours and 30 minutes in now.
Are we?
Yeah.
Valo's saying, y'all making me feel way better about YouTube. I have a channel and everything set up. I'm actually making my first YouTube video Tuesday. Whoa!
Yeah!
Okay, Sun God.
Congrats, Sun God.
Love
He said
it,
he's
man.
ready for the journey. Yeah, we are too.
That's what it is, man. You know what? Just don't get discouraged at all by like, we all have this idea where it's like, we want to go ahead and create something and we want it to get just like, you know, so many views, so many likes, so many whatever. And that's what, honestly, the reason why I'm not on social media is because I hate that idea of just trying to get that public approval.
Yeah,
you
pretty
know?
much, yeah.
That public kind of like
If we don't
praise
get enough
and stuff,
views
you
and
know?
enough likes, then it's not worth doing
Yeah.
it.
Don't ever think that, because then you're just going to be like stuck in this weird kind of like mental block or whatever and stuff, you know, and then you're going to go ahead and prevent yourself from creating something that, who knows, somebody might go ahead and find it and they're going to appreciate it, you know? And that's just the truth of the matter. If you can find somebody, you know, or whatever, to go ahead and just like what it is that you're doing, that's just what it is, you know?
Because even like our whole motivation for like our goal in making this podcast wasn't even like, yes, you know, it's okay to have aspirations and dreams. You know, we have aspirations, of course, to have this community and to, you know, someday be big enough to, you know, oh, maybe we'll get attention of some real like some Attack on Titan, like some people who are involved in the actual making of Attack on Titan and stuff like that. That would be so cool one day. But
I've been on record to go ahead and say it'd be cool to have actual voice actors go ahead and call in and stuff, you know, be able to talk to the actual people who did the voices, you know?
These behind the scenes, like have some real some major appreciation towards these people and have them on the podcast one day would be absolutely amazing. But our really main goal that we were focusing on very early on when we were making this podcast was we just wanted to create something that we felt like we were proud of.
Exactly.
Like we felt like we really put in the effort we wanted to.
Have no regrets.
And have no regrets. Be able to just do that and be like, screw it. If people don't view it, don't like it, you know, that's fine. You know, I remember there was a time where we were just like, we had like 5-6 episodes up there on Spotify, and we were like, look, like we have content. Like that is the one thing that we really were focusing on, is that, look, we're making content that we were proud of.
Definitely.
And that we were be like, oh, look, we're doing it. We're doing what we always said we wanted to do. Look, like it doesn't matter that we're only getting like max 30 listens.
Yeah, like, none of that matters.
It didn't matter that we were only getting in the beginning, obviously, just a couple listens, and it was really hard to get some exposure, but we didn't really care. Like, yes, we would love to share the experience and everything and get more people on and everything, and that's why we, you know, love this little community and the Levi squad and all you guys so much. But our main goal was really to just create content that we felt like we were confident and saying that, yeah, we put our all into this and we made this.
Definitely. And I like what you said is that, like, for us, we wanted to go ahead and create something that we were proud of, right? And that's what the goal was. Is like,
it wasn't just to make something just to get views.
Yeah.
It was to make something that we had fun doing.
To where we can go back and literally just be like, look, like once we're done and we're finished with this journey, we can always go back and have that library.
Knowing that we're proud that we did that. We're proud of what we did.
Yeah.
Regardless on how famous we get or whatever. It's that
to be
we
honest,
created something.
Fame is way overrated.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't want to be famous. I
is
go on
overrated.
record by saying I don't want to be famous. I wouldn't mind being rich, but maybe not being famous.
Yeah, like fame is overrated. Again, something we've always talked about too is like, we're not doing this for the idea of getting paid for it. Like, no. Yeah. Like, this is something that we're just doing because we want to be proud of the work that we put in and all that. And going back to you, Sun God, it's like, I love that you said, I'd rather have a few people who really appreciate it, right, than millions who don't. And it does. It takes time. Like, look, we're talking about how, like, shoot, August is going to be 2 years that we've been doing this, right?
Yeah.
It does, man. It takes time. It takes effort. But the reality of it is, like Lexi said, is that you want to just make something that you are going to be proud of, right? And then keep on doing that. And then you're going to find people who are going to appreciate, the content that you're creating, right? And yeah, man, that's just what it is. So just don't be discouraged, guys. Just in life, there's always going to be ups and downs. Just keep pushing through, man, and just keep working hard. It's just what it is, Nothing worth having, nothing, like reward-wise and all that, isn't really going to go ahead and really happen without putting in all that work.
Yeah.
That's just what it is.
If it does, it's not that fulfilling.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, sometimes I'm not going to say people don't get lucky, you know? But
there's a whole karma aspect. People get what they deserve.
Yeah. Like, people do get lucky, People get big breaks. Something we talked about where it's like sometimes it's just like, hey, fate has you. I mean, I talked about freaking Eric Vale.
I know, I was just about to reference that.
But how did he get to that point? Because he worked his ass off.
Worked, yeah.
And he literally was trying to become an actor, He was
it's like
doing
Eddie
what
mentioned
he could.
earlier, like it was his calling.
Yeah.
And he knew it. And he, went after what he wanted, and he just got like the anime dub legend.
He got a way in,
Yeah, he got a way in through that hard work.
I love it, Eddie. Eddie says things that come easy don't last. Things that take time last forever.
Yeah.
Love it.
That's a great
beautiful,
way
man.
of looking at it. That's great.
It's beautiful. And that's coming from a 21-year-old.
I know. That's from a 21-year-old. Yeah. Very wise.
No, yeah, guys. So just don't ever get discouraged. Keep creating the content you want to create. Be proud of it. Keep working hard. That's just really what it is, man. That's life. That's life for you, And then, like I mentioned, too, with Eric Vale, I mean, just because he got that one opportunity, that one role as Trunks, doesn't mean he stopped working. Like, I made it. No, he went over and he kept busting his ass. And guess what? He went over harder. Now. He's the voice that you hear in all these different freaking, dubbed episodes, the dubbed anime. A lot of times you're going to hear Eric Vale.
Yeah.
So, and also too, guys, you put the work in, who knows what opportunities can go ahead and be presented your way. You don't know. But yeah, guys. And that's another thing too we talked about. It's like, man, we have our friends here who are so freaking creative. Like, that's awesome. Eddie's saying I'm close to 200 subs and I already have more than 1 year on YouTube, and it takes time. Exactly,
Of course, yeah.
That's what
We're
it is.
Almost 2 years, and we have around 400 something followers. So yeah, it definitely takes time.
Definitely.
Yeah, don't give up. Thank you. Thank you for the supportive words, guys. Wow. Everyone in here is just so humble and so knowledgeable and so wise.
Yeah.
And so loving.
All right, guys. We've been doing this for a while.
Yeah.
Now, yeah.
Actually, while you close out, I really have to pee.
Okay.
So go ahead and start the closing out.
I will.
I'll come in because I have some news on Fandomion.
Awesome. But yeah, guys, big episode. We talked about a lot. We learned about a lot. We're going to go ahead and continue on with the story and learning more. But yeah, fun episode, guys. we're gonna go ahead and finally get to a close after doing this for over 2.5 hours. We know that it's very late for some of you. But yeah, guys, it wraps up another episode. We'll continue on focusing on the rest of season 3, episode 3. We'll finish that up next week, guys. Remember, guys, to go ahead and follow along. Follow us at Attack to Talk Podcast on Instagram for all your updates. You guys know that we upload the episodes every Friday. So check the link tree over on the Instagram. Go ahead and see all the different platforms that we're on. As we mentioned earlier, go check out that YouTube channel, guys. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't, because Nate has been putting in some serious work on the YouTube channel. Yeah, guys, make sure you guys go ahead and support Nate as well. Nate, he is NatePlaysBad is his name over on Twitch, on YouTube. Go support him, guys. Check out his streams and you know, he's been putting in that work also, guys, over on his channel. So go ahead and support him. We appreciate all of the work that you do for this podcast, Nate. Again, man, just so freaking thankful, and a big reason of why the quality of this podcast is what it is because of you, man. Really, like, all of the credit goes to you. You know, I was like, Nate, I have this idea, man. Can you go ahead and help me with it? And he's like, yeah, definitely. Okay, cool. What do I need? And Nate has just been there, man, just consistently, and I'm just so thankful for you, Nate. So thank you so much for that, man. So go support him. Again, guys, that is at NatePlaysBad. You guys will see it at the end of this episode because if you guys stick around for that end, Nate will go ahead and he'll have his awesome little his name and his character, which I love seeing. So shout out to you, Nate. We'll go ahead and just in time, we're going to go talk about some merch. Remember, guys, over in the link tree, we have a link that'll send you to that Fandomion store. Yeah, so we've talked about it, guys, for every podcast episode pretty much, where Fandomion, man, they just have so much freaking stuff for you to go ahead and look at. And then you guys see something you like, we have a way for you guys to get a discount. That is a promo code LEX, LEX, 10%, right? Still 10%?
Yes, 10%.
10% off your discount.
10% during non-holidays, but when it's around like Christmas and New Year's, it's around 15%.
Okay, awesome. So 10% off of your order. And Lexi says she has an update for Fandomion.
Yes,
so
they
update?
Actually just contacted me a couple, well, not a couple, more hours ago now.
Yeah.
But earlier today, they actually contacted me showing me a few photos of their new merch, and they do such a good job of letting. I'm sure it's not just me. I'm sure it's other people that they have helping them out with codes and everything too, and promoting them. But they do such a good job at their communication with letting us know when there is new merch available, so that we can let you guys know. Like, again, Fandomion
a little ahead of the game.
Yeah, Fandomion is again, they're very much for you guys, for the viewers and everything, and so obviously they'll let me know so I can let you guys know. A lot of the merch that they've been releasing recently has been more like just fashion, not really anything that's based on anime or pop culture, but more just fashion based, more alternative merch and everything. But they do let me know whenever there is anything anime related, and they did just release a really cool looking new One Piece t-shirt.
Really?
That I might have to show you.
Yeah, definitely show me.
But
I might.
Yeah, definitely. They let me know, and I, of course, will be like, yeah, I'll let my viewers know immediately. You know, whenever you guys are here it is.
Ooh.
That's their newest One Piece merch.
Okay. Like it.
And some of them other stuff, if you want to look at the other photos in there too, that's just what they've sent me. Yeah, they got some new t-shirts, new hoodies, new stuff out.
Gotcha.
And if you want to buy some stuff for the upcoming, it's going to start finally getting warmish again. Now that spring is starting to actually, now that winter's starting to end. So go get your guys some t-shirts and check all that out. Yeah. That's my update. Check out Fandomion. Use code LEX for 10% off. Thank you.
Very cool. Thank you so much for that, Lex. Yeah, guys, go ahead and check out Fandomion. Remember, that link is in our link tree. Click that link. It'll send you straight to their online store. You guys will be able to use that promo code. That promo code is LEX. And thank you so much again, Lex, for the update.
Another one of the recent hoodies.
The Death Note. That's the one you were talking about.
Yeah, the one I was talking about last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, last week, about their new Death Note hoodie and everything. And if you guys want to see, you guys are going to have to go check out Fandomion. But they're pretty cool. They're pretty cool.
Yeah, guys. So Fandomion, and also there's Instagram AnimeCrunch for you to check out. And that was pretty cool.
I was gonna say, I think you would like this.
Yeah.
You're like, anyways, I might have to check that out.
Yeah.
But yeah, go check them out, guys.
But yeah, guys. So another way for some merch, guys, is check out AnimeCrunch on Instagram. You click their link, guys. They'll have, or you go to their Instagram profile. There's a link for you guys to use. You guys go ahead and browse through their online store. Go check out AnimeCrunch. Go check out Fandomion. We want to give a shout out to some creative people, guys. We've already talked about our friends here. Eddie's got his YouTube channel. He's also very artistic. YouTube channel is his name, Eddie Hinston. And then he has art that he goes and he has available that he just has available for us to go ahead and see, guys, over on his Instagram, which is ArtDewan. Go support Eddie. Eddie, we appreciate you being so creative, man, and just going and being artistic with drawing up some art, also with creating content. As we talked about it, bro, just keep doing your thing, man. You're aware that it takes time, and yeah, man, we appreciate just all the hard work that you're putting into your content. So make sure you guys go ahead and support Eddie. Check out his stuff. Again, that's at his YouTube channel, Eddie Hinston. And he also has his art available at ArtDewan. Check that out, guys. And then another friend of the show, we have Marco, who Marco has his Instagram as well. Mm-hmm. Right, Lex?
Yes.
What's his Instagram at?
It's his name, Marco Mamone, except the first O is a 0. So MARC 0 MAMONE. Yeah, I just looked it up. Geeky Statues is no longer called Geeky Statues on Instagram.
Really?
So that's why the link wasn't working. That makes so much sense. They are now called Collector Sesh.
Okay.
What collector _ sesh.
What about AnimeCrunch though?
Sorry, not Geeky Statues. My bad. Geeky Statues is still Geeky Statues. Yeah. AnimeCrunch is no longer AnimeCrunch.
Okay.
That's why the link wasn't working.
Okay, gotcha.
Sorry, I got the usernames confused. Yeah, so Geeky Statues is still, it's same old thing. They're still that same username, but AnimeCrunch 24 is no longer AnimeCrunch 24. They are now Collector Sesh, which is collector _ sesh, just normally spelled like that. Because I just tried to look them up right now, and there is an AnimeCrunch private account, but their link to their store doesn't work.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So there's something wrong on their end with their link. So I'm assuming that they just made this whole new.
Okay, very cool.
So,
Lexi, do you think you'd be able to go ahead and update that link tree then?
Yeah, I can totally do that. Update
Thank
to
you.
Collector Sesh. Yeah. Figured it out, guys.
Awesome. So yeah, guys, Collector Sesh. That is collector _ sesh. Thank you so much for that update, Lex.
Yeah. Sorry it was a little late, but now you guys know. Better late than never.
Yeah. Also want to say, Marco, miss you, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Know that you're in your awesome relationship, man.
Yeah.
But we miss you over here, man. We miss you.
Introduce us.
Yeah. Go check out Marco's art at his Instagram.
Yes.
Go check out another form of way to go and check out some art, guys, is that in our link tree available is a link to go check out Caesar, who is an awesome creative artist. His Instagram is at ArtofCesar. Check him out, guys. But if you're interested in some art, in our link tree, we have a link for you guys to use that'll send you to his Etsy store. And then you guys can go ahead and look at his art. And if you like it, hey, it's right there for you guys to go ahead and purchase. Yeah, he has some really cool stuff. Go give it a look, guys. You guys might like it. So shout out to our creative friends. Shout out to the day ones, man, the Levi squad. We love you guys so much. And shout out just to all of the support that we get. It means a lot. I mean, we talk about it every episode, but it really does. So thank you so much for this continuous support. Spread the word, guys, because you guys know the more the merrier. We appreciate the ones that are spreading the word. Remember, guys, look out for future Spotify Q&As. We also do, for future Spotify, we just do the polls on Spotify, but we also do the polls also over on Instagram. So, yeah, guys.
Instagram is where we review them in the episodes. So
keep a lookout for the Q&As and the polls over on Instagram. Again, that is at Attack to Talk Podcast. Yeah, you guys know how much we love getting the feedback from there. So we hope that you guys continue sharing the knowledge. So I think it's time, guys, to go ahead and get to a close here. You guys know how much Tactical Talk loves you guys. Yeah, so cool, man. You guys are awesome.
Thank you guys. We've gone on and on for like an hour about how much we appreciate you guys and
we hope
what
that
the journey
you
that
guys,
this has been, and that this will continue to be.
Definitely, you know, it's a journey for sure. But we love you guys. We hope that you guys have a good week. Right, we'll see you guys back here next weekend, Sunday, 7 o'clock is the time we've been usually doing. But remember, get all your updates over on the Instagram. Spread the love and positivity, you guys. Keep working hard, as we mentioned. I'm AJ signing off. Love you guys, and I'll see you guys next week.
Yeah, bye guys. Be safe. Hope to see you guys next week. Bye.